leather helmets were not in when I played.
No, they had the full ceramic.
And we had full face masks.
Oh, you didn't just have the single bar?
No, we were. I am post single bar, so I'm not that old.
You're still old.
Oh, okay, single.
But no, that's not that old. That's not like where they were still making up the rules. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and run into the ad.
What are the rules got to do with anything?
High school sports teams are known for their unity. No matter what's happening on the field, they stick together. Players, coaches, students, parents. One big family. That's why Mountain West Bank is so proud to sponsor Idaho high school sports. Today, tomorrow, together.
Some days, I choose the most difficult trail. I test my limits.
Taking the hard path isn't always easy, but I know it's the right way.
When I get done with my ride and I look back at what I've just accomplished, I feel amazing.
It takes courage and determination to do hard things.
But you can do them.
Quitting tobacco and vaping is possible.
You decide when. We'll show you how. Learn more at projectfilter.org or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
You can't make summer stand still, so make the most of every last second with a new Toyota at Toyota's National Sales Event.
During Toyota's National Sales Event, discover our wide variety of fuel-efficient electrified vehicles. Toyota, let's go places.
We're a valley-wide country store. For 100 years, we've been your #1 choice for food, fuel, farm supplies, and just about everything else you could need to get you through your day. We know you work until the job is done, and so do we. For gas on the go, or a little extra to help you get down the road, you can count on us. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're valley-wide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit, not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
Because you already give them something money can't buy. We'll help with everything else, no matter what life holds. Mountain West Bank. Today, tomorrow, together.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Husky Field here at Emmett, where the Huskies of Emmett High School are getting ready to host the Wildcats of Columbia High School. And coming onto the field down below, the Emmett Huskies for homecoming 2022. The hammer being brought in onto the field by Isaac Brennan. And there's your group coming out onto the field. Columbia's on the far side. We're going to be pausing for the national anthem here shortly. But these two teams to face off in Southern Idaho Conference action. This will only be the second conference game for Emmett this year. They won 2 weeks ago here on this surface against Skyview before going to California last week to knock off Tokay High School of Lodi 48-20. Columbia, on the other hand, comes in with a 1-4 record. They won their opening game of the year against Fruitland, and they've lost some real nail-biters since then. So they're hoping they can get things turned around here rather quickly, and they know that if they can knock off Emmett, that would be a big start to that, because right now Emmett and Bishop Kelly are the only two teams in the 4A Southern Idaho Conference that do not have a blemish in the loss column for the season. And these two teams, Bishop Kelly and Emmett, will meet in Boise next week. So for the Huskies, they've got to make sure they don't stumble tonight if they want next week's game to really matter. And now we're going to turn this over to the field and the national anthem. strains of the national anthem from the Emmett High School Marching Band. As we were starting to talk about, this game is a big game in its own regard, but it has lots of implications as the season is starting to get down to the nitty-gritty. It's hard to believe we're already halfway through the season, and not halfway through the conference season, but the stack up for the 4A state playoffs are already starting to materialize. And out of the Southern Idaho Conference, only 2 teams will automatically qualify, each having host berths in the first round of the playoffs. But as many as 4 or 5 others could as well, because there are going to be 16 teams in the playoffs, and there's only 8 automatic qualifiers. So for Columbia, even though they're 1-4 on the year and 0-2 in conference play, this is where they can start establishing that they deserve to be in that mix and to be into the playoffs. And that's exactly what they're going to try to do here tonight. And the one thing that I look at statistically going into this ball game, Chandler, is that Columbia only averaging 13.2 points a game, so it's actually the lowest in the conference. But they're number 3 in the conference in allowing points, lowest points. In fact, after Bishop Kelly, which is only averaging a touchdown every other game, and then Emmett at 24 points a game, Columbia is there at 28-6, and the rest of the league is in the 30s and 40s in points given up. So do we have a defensive battle on our hands tonight?
Every time we say that, Del, that's exactly the opposite of what we get. It always turns into a shootout. You're completely right. Statistically speaking, the Wildcats have been fantastic on defense, and they just haven't been able to put together long cohesive drives, really, on offense. Very much a running team, so it'll be an interesting matchup tonight, as Emmett has shown that they like to come out firing the ball hard, throwing deep, and then they just kind of grind it out in the second half because they've just been ahead every time. And they've just had this really beat-em-up offensive line that we've been really falling in love with this year. Now, against this Wildcat offense and defense, I think we're going to have more of an even matchup on the line. It's going to be big guy on big guy, and I think it's going to be all the way to the fourth quarter before we really know who's got the more grit.
Well, it's certainly going to be something that we'll be watching, is that line play, because the Huskies have been looking good in the first half, but they've been looking dominant in the second half of ball games with the offensive and defensive lines, and that could be a factor here tonight. The opening kickoff, the toss apparently has been won, I would assume, by the Huskies because they're kicking.
Yep.
And back to receive, let's check it. I believe that's number 12.
That is number 12, Ricky Tate, the senior back end.
So Tate back deep for the Wildcats. The Huskies have had a pretty good advantage in most of their games this season in special teams. They're averaging almost 45 yards a return on kickoff returns this year, though they've yet to get one to go to the house. They've had some close ones.
The first kickoff of the season, if I remember correctly, was returned all the way to their own 5-yard line, so it was a fantastic return. But yeah, you're right, haven't been able to quite cross that line yet.
Well, the kick's going to be bouncing high. It bounces off the front of the receiver. There's actually number 16 for Columbia. That's Mason Hammerly that caught it on the chest. Did a great job of getting control of the ball back out across the 20. And the Wildcats will start at about the 23. Now we'll see what the Wildcats put forward for us. We know they're going to come out here aggressively and probably in between the tackles. At least that's what we're expecting if you look at their stat sheet on the year, and that's because they do have a quarterback who can throw the ball, but a lot of their offense comes from Akaika Ho, a 6 foot, 195-pound senior running back, number 24. And Ho is the lone man in the backfield along with the quarterback. That is Matthew Davis in his third year quarterbacking. And Davis is going to open it up to start with, but he misses his quick out to Andre Waters on the bottom of your screen or out to the right, and it'll be quickly 2nd down and 10 for Columbia. And this is where the Huskies defensively want to establish field position early. The statistics for Emmett this year are a little bit deceiving. They're the 2nd highest average scoring team in 4A right now, right behind Bishop Kelly. But they do it with total balance. They're averaging right at 200 yards rushing and 200 yards passing in every game. Pitch goes back, bringing it around the outside, and being dropped for a gain of about 2 yards is Ho. And it'll be 3rd down, and we'll give him 3 yards on the carry. 3rd down and 7 coming up just across the 25-yard line. Columbia going into the sun here. And this is a east-west layout on this field. So until the sun goes down, if you're headed west, you got a little glare this time of the year.
It's one of those things quarterbacks hate, but receivers love it, because when they look back, that ball is bright and shiny coming right toward them.
It is outlined and emphasized. Back to pass, firing out into the flat. Good defensive coverage there on number 2. Cole Barrera was coming out, but playing the inside game was Stevie Howe. And quarterback Davis, he just threw it where Howe couldn't get to it, and unfortunately his receiver couldn't either.
Well, I don't blame him. Howe has been absolutely dynamically amazing this year. Howe last week with 4 touchdowns down in California played a fantastic game. Columbia now back to punt. 5 touchdowns, my mistake.
7 receptions for 232 yards and 5 touchdowns. He was really in connection, and he also had an interception in that mix. And the punt's not going to go much of anywhere. It crosses the 40 and then is corralled by one of the Wildcat players on the far sideline. The back end of the pigskin will be at the 40, so just under 40 yards to go for the Huskies for their first possession offensively, and we'll see what they can do here tonight. The freshman teams for these 2 schools met here on the field last night, and Emmett won that one, I believe, 47-0. And our best thoughts and prayers go out to one of the Columbia players who was injured late in that ball game. We understand he was still hospitalized yet this afternoon, but looked like he was getting better. And so we'll try to follow up on that one a little bit more. But always one of those risks in football. Pitch goes back to Fullerton, and Fullerton is tripped up back behind the line of scrimmage, but he falls forward for about 3 yards. And it'll be 2nd down and 7 coming up just outside or right around the 37-yard line.
Very stereotypical of Fullerton, always getting that extra last push in at the end of every play. Always good for an extra couple yards. It seems like even if he gets hit at the line of scrimmage or slightly behind, he always gets 1 or 2 on every carry.
And he came out, he's holding a hand, so I don't know if he got a stinger or got stepped on or what happened in the mix, but he's come to the near sideline, and the Huskies try to fire it out of there, and great pressure put on by Columbia. That was Alejandro Waters, I believe.
That felt weird, Dell. I don't know if that was a broken play or a mistimed snap. It kind of looked like the center snapped the ball and nobody else moved.
And anyway, quarterback Perry tried to get rid of it. He already has an incompletion. He had 2 in 12 attempts last week in California. It was 10 of 12 for 5 touchdowns passing and 1 running. He's going to roll out to the left. He's firing deep. He's got Howe out there, but he overshoots him, and Howe had beat his receiver by about 3 or 4 yards. And last week, it seemed like every time those 2 looked at each other, they were scoring. And that one just not quite there. Maybe a little breeze behind us from the west. I don't know, but Howe was unable to catch up with it. And quickly, the Huskies are faced with 4th down.
There seems to be some nerves going on, and you can already see a little bit of chipping going back and forth between the linemen. Columbia known for being a very aggressive team, very much nitty-gritty, and they like to play rough. So I would not expect this game to be very nice.
This is not going to be a chess match in the gentlemanly sense.
No.
4th down, long 7 coming up for the Huskies. They're going to go for it, though, as they're deep in or into territory. Perry goes right over the middle. He was looking for Howe. Howe had his hands pinned behind him, but there was no flag on the play, and the ball will be turned over to Columbia at the 37-yard line.
So after punting and getting only a 12-yard net punt, they end up gaining 10 yards on the punt.
Yep, they're going to be in decent position for their 2nd possession of the ball game. And let's see what Columbia does. They tried a couple of passes and 1 run play to Ho. We were expecting a steady diet of Ho. Let's see if that comes about here. Of course, sometimes that takes a little bit of success inside before you start really wanting to milk it.
Well, and it's something we talk about all the time. How do you open up the center? You throw it out to the side. You throw it deep. You move the ball around the field and allow your running back to get some space. If you just keep trying to pound it up the middle, sometimes you can get crammed and stuffed up, like just happened right there.
Yeah, Hode's not going to make it back to the line of scrimmage. He's going to lose a yard or two. And you could see the Wildcats had 2 receivers split to the top of your screen out to the left, but the Huskies defensively had everybody pretty much in. Right now, they're not showing a lot of, I don't want to use the term respect, they're not showing a lot of fear of a Columbia passing game at this point.
Now, Daniel Walker, the end, just penetrating right through the line and getting great penetration, a fantastic tackle.
Pass out to the near side, completion is made. It'll be for a short gain as there's 3, 4, 5, 6 Huskies and 1 shirted a Wildcat in there. That is 33, Manny Varese, who gets the reception, and he'll pick up, we'll give him 4 yards. That'll bring up 3rd down and 7, so he got more than the loss from the running play back. And both these teams looking for their first down of the ball game, but then we're young. We're not even 3 minutes in.
Well, and we talked about that as the game started. This could be a very defensive battle across the board. Columbia not putting up a ton of points, but also not letting people score. So
that's where turnovers then often become the deciding factor between teams. Rolling out, looking downfield, firing downfield, over the top. Does he make the reception? If it is, it's a great one-handed catch, and it is. It's a reception by Nakoa Foray as he's able to cradle it in his right arm with the defender on his left side, and it's big yardage, about a 25-yard pickup. We're going to mark it all the way down to the Emmett 37-yard line, and so we now have our first down of the contest, and Columbia is in Emmett territory for the first time this evening.
Ryder Scheibe on the coverage there. He covered it just about as well as you could, but you put the ball outside of the playing field, and there's not much you can do as a defender, and what a wonderful catch.
Yeah, Davis did that on the run to the left, which is a tough thing to do, and they're able to get it down the stretch. And Ho trying to find some running room, and it's not there.
So far, this Emmett defensive line has really been the difference here, not letting any push really come from that offensive line, which is crazy considering the offensive line for Columbia on average is 2 inches taller than the Emmett defensive line.
Yeah, there's some good size there. But we have seen that more than once this season, and oftentimes it's kind of a push in the first half, but second half, all of a sudden, the smaller, quicker seem to hold up. But we'll see what happens here because Columbia is the first to really be threatening to get on the scoreboard here. Davis gets the handoff, coming around and picking up a little bit of yardage is, I believe, Waters, number 9.
Shane Daniels on the coverage there just stuck him the second he turned upfield.
Well, he turns upfield, and they're going to say it was kissing his sister because we're at 3rd down and 10. No gain whatsoever.
So far, this Husky defensive line or run defense has been absolutely automatic, and you can tell Coach Hargett definitely prepared his team for this running offense.
Yeah, and that's obvious. And that then comes into the hands of the quarterback, Davis. Can he exploit that with the space on the outside? And he's going to look to do that going to the left. He gets it out into the flat, gets it again to Foray, and Foray's going to get the completion and yardage, but he's not going to get enough for a first down. He'll get down to about the 32-yard line, where it'll bring up 4th down and a good solid 4 yards for Columbia. They've got to get it inside almost to the 27, it looks like, from the marker on the far side of the field. So nearly 5 yards.
But this brings you back to exactly what Emmett did on the other side of the field. You're in good field position. It's safe to go for it on 4th down, especially with the 0-0 game here with 6 minutes, 45 seconds left in the quarter.
And see if they can convert on a 4th down here. Their first opportunity of the game. Davis calling signals, rolls to his left. He's looking downfield, looks to run with the ball, and it just all collapses. Everything closes in at the 31. The Huskies swarm him over, and the Huskies will take over at that point for their second possession of the night. We are 6 minutes and 34 seconds since the start of this to remain in this, or just barely, not even quite halfway through. but we have no score in this ball game between the Emmett Huskies and the Columbia Wildcats.
In fact, we haven't been inside the 30 on either side of the field so far.
Yeah,
So we've really just been in the middle of the field.
Yeah, we haven't been even whispering distance of a red zone call yet. And let's see if that changes here sometime soon. The Huskies playing a pretty tight formation inside right now. Handoff goes right back to, is it Fullerton or it'll be Brennan? I'll have to see, because Fullerton came out and I was really concerned whether he would be coming back at all. That looks like, it's number 7, Joe Loomis. So Loomis is
injured
back
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago we thought he had possibly a broken ankle. It turned out to be a high ankle sprain. He did not play at all last week in California, but the California kid is back at it tonight.
It's wonderful to see him back. He's been a huge part of this offense. As you can see, the handoff to him again only is going to get maybe a yard and a half on the run. But Loomis has been one of those what we called wild card players for this team. He's really filled in all the gaps, playing slot receiver, wide out, running back, fullback at times.
Kick returner.
Returner. He's really been that jack of all trades for this team. And as you see, Emmett's lining up in what I'm calling the power paw offense that they've been using the last few weeks that have really just worn down defensive lines.
Well, it's 3rd and 3, and they pitch it back to Isaac Brennan, and Brennan looked like he had room, but making sure that he did not get the first down. Cutting through there, a great tackle by Andre Waters. A 5'10", 180-pound senior that cut through and cost Brendan a couple of yards, and it'll be 4th down and a long 5 coming up for the Huskies. And right now they're showing an indication that they're going to punt this ball from their own territory.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything other than a punt here. When you're this deep in your own territory, you cannot allow this Wildcat offense to have that good a field position, especially when your defense really hasn't given up much so far other than that one long pass play down the sideline. So.
And with the wind at your back, maybe you're thinking you can get a good root at this ball and get something going. And it's a high kick that's going to hit the ground at about the 35, and it takes a Columbia bounce back to the 40. There was a lot of green turf on the far side. If it had rolled the other direction, could have gone quite a ways maybe, but instead Columbia is going to start the possession at their own 39. So this will be their 3rd possession, and all of them have been outside the 20-yard line. So they haven't had bad field position, but neither team able to really establish a major threat yet.
Now, if this was college football, the coaches would be absolutely tickled pink with this field position they've received every time so far. So,
I don't think the Huskies are happy about their execution on offense. They've yet to get a first down here tonight. Hand off to Ho. He's a little more patient this time, and he'll get a couple of yards because of it, but then he's swarmed in at about the 42-yard line, and it'll be a 3-yard pickup for Ikaika Ho, and the ball going to be placed on the stripes on the far side. 4 minutes, 22 seconds to go. Going out of the ball game is Waters, who's had some big plays for Columbia. Let's see who he's replaced with if they go with a little more of a split formation. Coming out to the near side is Cole Barrera. Quarterback Matthew Davis calling signals. I think that's Ho next to him. It is. And Davis going to keep it and go straight ahead. He's going to get nice yardage, about 4 yards. It'll be 3rd down and manageable just over across the 46-yard line. So we'll call it 3rd and 3 right now for Columbia. These are the tough places when you have that 3rd and 4th down. Because
it's such an awkward distance. You know, it's a little bit too far for really an easy run pickup, but it's not quite long enough to justify the throw. It's just that awkward moment. Now you see the center who got a little excited, ran out of the huddle a little early. They went to change the play, and it looks like they're going to call timeout now.
Columbia is going to take a timeout here as they try to reset and figure what they're going to do here on 3rd down and 3 as they're nearing midfield in this football game. This broadcast is being brought to you on IdahoSports.com. It's a GameStream production of Treasure Valley Game Night presented by Mountain West Bank. Also brought to you by our major sponsors throughout the year, Project Filter, Valley-Wide Cooperative, the Idaho Transportation Department, the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, Next Steps Idaho, and your local Toyota dealers. And tonight's game here at Emmett is also being brought to you by local supporters, Hannigan Auto Sales, Mountain West Building Supply, and Gem Supply and Building Co-op. all of those fine supporters here in the community of Emmett, supporting their Huskies throughout the year on the road and at home. And we're glad to have them on board with us here on IdahoSports.com. Just a reminder, a little bit later in the game, we'll be naming, well, at the very end of the game, let's admit, we will be naming an IdahoSports.com Idaho Transportation Department Shift Player of the Game. And we'll be bringing that one to you. We get to make that decision to decide what we're going to do with it, but that'll be coming up much, much later. We're a long ways to go here, folks. 3:29 remaining first quarter. Pitch goes back for Columbia. They get it out to Ho. He breaks the tackles, got first down yardage into Emmett territory all the way to the 41. Looks like he might have been stopped short, but he makes a nice little juke as he gets near the 48 and picks up another 8 or 9 yards before he's chased out of bounds. So the third first down of the ball game for Columbia, and right now their offense is executing with what they're able to get against Emmett.
Ho is one of those really interesting running backs where he's 6 foot, almost 200 pounds, 195 pounds, but he has that closing speed that you just don't expect out of a player that big. And so it's one of those things when he jumps outside, you tend to forget about it.
Davis with a quick pass to the flare on the outside is going to be worth another 8 or 9, maybe even 10 yards as Davis gets it out into the hands of number 3. I believe that's Peyton Hernandez who gets the reception. Now Hernandez is going out. Right now, the Columbia using pretty much a shuttle receiver core as Hernandez goes out, and back into the game comes Andre Waters. And I would assume they are the messengers from the coach with the plays.
Yeah, unfortunately, high school doesn't have the budget to have the intercom inside the helmets like the pros do, but
most colleges don't either.
Right.
Yes. So 2 yards to go, second down. Right ahead is Ho, and he's going to break a tackle, gets to the 30 on the first down yardage, and gets another. And again, the last couple of plays, it's that patience, which we used to see out of Fullerton. He gets into a spot and kind of lets everyone else move, and then he takes his jump.
One thing that I will have to say, though, that I'm really, really loving from this Emmett defense is how they all swarm the ball. And that's not something you've seen really from the Wildcats on the other side. They tend to tackle one-on-one. And as the game goes on and your players get more tired, the more people you have swarm into that football, the better it's going to be. So I expect this to start showing a bigger difference as second half rolls in.
Pass, the handoff to Ho. He cuts it to the left, then cuts upfield. We got a flag thrown where you expect to see a hold probably on the cut as he cut and found a little bit of a hole to move forward. Even with that, he just got back to the line of scrimmage, but we're going to march it back 5 yards. And let's see, they're going to go from the point of the infraction, so that 5-yard penalty becomes essentially an 8 or 9 yard penalty.
And that's a very costly penalty here for the Wildcats. That's going to make it first and almost 20.
Yeah, it's first and 19, and it just changes a lot of your options. But the way they've been moving the ball on the last couple of possessions, they've had a nice mix. They've found the passing lane once, and they've had some close completions a couple of other times. So a minute 48 to go here in the first quarter. No score between the Huskies and Homecoming, and that is always a distraction for teams. You never know if it's an inspiration or a bad issue. And Ho trying to take advantage and move forward. He'll get a couple of yards, but that's all he's going to get back to the Emmett 42-yard line, it appears. And that will mean we still have about a 16, 17-yard to gain for the Wildcats on second down.
That's one of those plays that as a coach you're going to call that's called a lulling play. And what that does is it just indicates that, we're just going to run it. And so you kind of push the defense in. Now watch them either bounce it outside with the run or possibly throw it out into the flats.
Well, let's see what Davis calls out of the signal. He's got a blocker in front of him. He's going back to pass. He's looking downfield. He's going for the far side at about the 25, and it scoots off the hands. I believe that was of number, was it 33, Varese? Manny, yes, it was. Manny Varese, who had a couple of completion catches earlier. That comes up, it just skips off his hands. Decent coverage there on the crossing pattern, and that'll bring up third down. And actually, third down at about 22.
Oh yeah, we were at
we gave him a gain last. We gave him a gain last time, and it was actually a loss on the run. So So 3rd and long, and now we're going to be 3rd and longer, I believe, because we have a whistle, and that usually when they stop play.
False start on the offense.
I mean, that even I, who do not understand a lot of the hand signals and stuff from the officials, know when the whistle goes that stops the play, 90% of the time it is going to be offensive illegal motion. Yep, somebody moved when they shouldn't have.
Now, and the only chance you got here, if you're the Wildcats, is you're going to throw it deep. There's really not any space to really run the ball
Or
here.
do you play it conservative and play field position here, try to move a little closer and then pin the Huskies back? They're going to hand it off to Ho. He gets outside for a couple of yards. He'll end up with about a 5-yard pickup back to about the 43-yard line, and it'll be 4th down at about 23 coming up for Columbia in Emmett territory.
I don't love
That's
that.
a long way to take a 4th down effort now, so I'm anticipating, and we do have what appears to be a punter coming out of the field. And, of course, his number looks to be 47, and there is no 47 on the roster.
I think it's 44. I think that's Ryan Foster.
41 is Michael Kerbel. And he drops the ball, gets his foot under this one. He finally gets it, and it's going to roll to the near side where Columbia will put it down. Everett Kimball putting the stop on it. So a net punt of about 4 yards from the line of scrimmage to the line of scrimmage. And that was kind of mishandled to begin with. And they've had 2 punts now that have been both very short. But Emmett's done nothing with it, because absolutely, as we go to the final 12 seconds of the first quarter, they've yet to get a first down.
Yeah, and we thought they were going to throw the ball there toward that last play. But I think when your defense has been as lights out as it has been so far this game, you kind of just let your defense do what they do best. And
well, Ry Fullerton is back in to do what he does best. He went down on the first series and was out, but he's back in there and picks up 4 yards rushing as he gets it out to the 43-yard line. And that is the end of the first quarter. We've completed 1 quarter of play, a scoreless football in the Southern Idaho Conference here at Husky Field. It's Emmett 0 and Columbia 0.
So far, this has been exactly what we expected it to be. This is the grinded out, punch mouth defensive battle that we expected, which is not something you have very often in high school football.
Well, certainly not this year. It hasn't been that way and across the board. And we've kind of taken the attitude that if we proclaim that's what's going to happen before the game, that's exactly what's not going to happen. So maybe my Nostradamus abilities have improved a bit, but
that would be a lovely change.
But that's only 1 quarter. That's a lot of football to be played here. And the Huskies will now be going to the west into the sun, with the exception that
the sun is now set.
The sun now has a little cloud cover as it finally settles in out over the Oregon border. And the Huskies, with 2nd down and 6, will be ready to go with quarterback Dakotas. And now we have a whistle, and it's a procedural against Emmett. It looked like a lot of them just weren't quite sure what they were doing. I think I saw 3 or 4 different players, a couple on the line that moved as well. And right now the communication in that backfield is, or actually on the team, is a bit awry.
That's the 2nd time it's looked like Emmett's just had a little bit of a miscommunication on that snap count. It could just be nerves, as we've talked about. It is homecoming night here in Emmett. And sometimes that gets to you.
So now it's 2nd down and about 12 to go for the Huskies, back in their own territory. As Perry's calling signals, looking for pressure. Handoff goes to Fullerton right up the middle, and he'll get back what they lost with the penalty. Well, part of it. He doesn't get it all back. So it'll be 3rd down and about 8 coming up. So we'll give him a 4-yard gain. And he's gained about 8 yards so far in this, but they lost 5 of them on a penalty. And another big 3rd down coming up here for the Huskies. I don't know if the wind's a factor in this one. We do have a little bit of a breeze coming, and it's coming directly into the face of the Huskies right now, coming out of the west. But that was what Columbia was looking at in the first quarter. Perry back to pass, looking downfield. He wants to release it. He gets it out there into the hand. He was looking to get it into the hands of, did it go incomplete, or did he actually intercept it?
So it's going to be an interception by number 81, Owen Ovonke.
Yes. Ovanik.
Ovanik.
Owen Ovanik, but he's going to be called with the personal foul with kind of.
It looks like he got a little bit mouthy. His helmet did get ripped off at the end of that play, and he got up saying some little bit of an obscurity.
Looking at the way the Columbia players are acting, they think the penalty is actually going to be against Emmett, but we have one in the backfield as well.
Oh.
So that may negate the entire play.
Well, and it depends on if it's on the offense or the defense. Right now we have Emmett still standing like they have the ball down on the 40.
And the flag is behind them, and they're picking up the flag down the field. So now the official's trying to discuss which one overrules.
Well,
because if the penalty was on the offense, or it doesn't really matter, if the penalty was before the interception, it rules. After the interception, the penalty would have been separate. It is nullified because there isn't any.
So we're going to have personal foul on the defense, unnecessary roughness, and on defense. So you're going to have 2 unnecessary roughness penalties called on the defense, one on the defensive line and one on the
and the first one was hitting the quarterback.
Yeah, roughing the passer.
Roughing the passer. But that's confusing a little bit here with do we have still a change of possession with a 30-mile?
No, with a roughing the passer call, that's going to be the penalty that's going to take effect. The second one will not take effect because it was done after the play. So it looks like it'll probably be, if I had to guess, a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
Well, it's personal foul. It'll be
15.
It'll be 15. And it's an automatic first down as a personal foul, so it doesn't really matter where it's from. It's going to be a first down, and they're marching it off, and the Huskies will actually get into Columbia territory for the first time tonight.
Oh, wow. They're going to count both penalties,
it appears they're going to use both penalties, so we have a 30-yard march off against Columbia here, and all of a sudden the Huskies, who had not gotten the first down in the ball game, essentially get 2 penalties on one play, and they are inside the 30-yard line at the 29.
We talked about this earlier. Columbia is a very physical team. They like to play rough, and sometimes that costs you a big play.
It did there. Handoff to Loomis. He's going to get forward for a couple of yards. And there's just a lot. There's a lot.
And
here comes
another
the
flag.
We're seeing a lot of pushing going on after the whistle.
There's a lot of chippingness go. And another flag is going to be thrown. The hat of the official is going to be thrown, which is going to be another flag. And that one I can only expect is around Emmett because that's the only players that were around him.
Yeah, unless he was seeing something else. So, this is a chippy game, and the last 2 or 3 games that Columbia has played, there have been some chippiness. The game against Valley View was very much that way. In fact, if I remember right, Valley View had a couple of kids actually ejected from the game. Here we're going to have offsetting penalties, so it really isn't going to matter too much. But we're still early. I mean, we're not even a minute into the second quarter. It's a little early for some of this kind of non-football action to be taking place.
Yeah. These students are going to need to get their heads calmed down and just stay out of their own heads. Emmett, it's homecoming night. Emotions are already high. And the Wildcats want to come in here and they want to give them their first loss in conference play this year.
Yeah, they're wanting to get their first win in conference play and establish themselves, and they've certainly shown well here early. They're doing everything they can at the line.
They're willing to fight for it.
Yeah, but second down and 9 for the Huskies in Columbia territory. With the advantage of some of those penalties, handoff will go back to Fullerton, who's going to cut back inside. Nice cut with a trailing defender. Gets underneath him and then dives forward. He'll get about 7 yards out of that, it looks like. 6 maybe. We'll call it third down and 3 at about the 22-yard line.
And that's more the stereotypical Fullerton that we're used to seeing. The patient run that waits for the hold to develop and then takes it.
Perry Cowling signals Fullerton to his left. He's going to fake the handoff, fires it out into the flat, into the hands of Brennan, and Brennan's going to scoot around the end inside the 10-yard line. Isaac Brennan with that quick open pass out of the backfield, and he'll take it inside the 10, 15, 16-yard pickup, and the Huskies have it first and goal with 10:20 to play here in the first half. And again, those 2 penalties on one play, huge. 30-yard march off has changed the field direction completely. And Perry's going to roll out to the right. He's calling signals, fires into the end zone, and it's pulled down and a touchdown, I believe. Yes, it is. That is Michael Walker pulling it in on the rollout, but we do have a flag in the backfield.
There's laundry on the field, and it looks like Columbia is adamant that it's against the Huskies.
But it's interesting because it's a crossing pattern, and it's back.
It's holding on the defense, so they're going to actually wave that off, decline the penalty, and that's still going to be a touchdown.
So with 10:13 to go here in the second quarter, the Huskies finally on the board with a 9-yard Dakota Perry pass to Michael Walker. That is Perry's 22nd touchdown pass of the season, which sets a new Emmett school record.
It's something we've talked about going into this season. There was a lot of concern after graduating young last year. Dakota Perry, the fourth-year senior that had never seen start time, was he going to be able to step on varsity? Yeah. Was he going to be able to step into those shoes? And in my opinion, he's done that and more.
Well, as a pure passer, he just provides a lot more. He broke a record that was actually held by Caden Young and by Sage Wilkerson on the 2015 State A3 championship team with 20 touchdowns in the season. So, and this is the 6th game of the season.
Well, and he also 2 weeks ago set the record for most touchdowns in one single game thrown by a player.
It was 6 at Baker, right?
Yep.
Handoff, the Huskies trying to go for something, and they do not get it. They're trying to force it inside. And so a little minor victory there for Columbia after things kind of got away from them. They give up the touchdown, but they do not give up the run or the conversion, and it is a 6-0 Emmett lead with 10 minutes and 13 seconds remaining here in the first half. Hannigan Auto Sales has been locally owned and operated for over 90 years. In fact, they're pushing 100, folks, and you don't stick around that long unless you treat every customer who walks onto the lot as family. Hannigan Auto Sales and Service is a full-service dealer that can take care of everything before, during, and after the sale. In-house financing, full-service auto detailing, and a repair shop run by the best vehicle experts around. You won't find a better place to buy or service your next used car, truck, or SUV than at Hannigan Auto Sales and Service on Washington, right here at Emmett. Give them a call at 365-5050.
Dell, you bought your new truck from Hannigan as well, didn't you?
Yep.
How has that gone for you?
It's been smooth sailing. You got to put up with some characters down there, but it's been smooth sailing.
Hey. Sometimes it's worth it.
The ball is fumbled around on the kick return, and falling on it and just covering it at the 20-yard line will be Peyton Hernandez.
Yeah, it got in the breadbasket, but he just couldn't seem to get a handle on it. It just fumbled around in front of him, and eventually he decided, you know what, I should just fall out on here and not risk the fumble. So
have the same issue with any basket that has no handles. Just it's tough. Anyway, it's 1st and 10. 80 yards in front of Columbia as they're going to try to see if they can get back into Emmett territory. They've crossed midfield twice, and but have yet to come up with any points out of it. And we're just not even 2 minutes into the second quarter, so lots of time here. And rolling outside number 33, that is the receiver Manny Variz, who comes around. He's going to get a couple of yards, but I don't think – boy, a lot of north-south running here, but not a lot of east-west gain. They're going to give him nothing.
Well, and Variz was lined up as the fullback there across from Ho. And, not much to it.
Nope, they put him right there at the 20-yard line. So 2nd and 10 for Columbia coming up. Clock is rolling here in the first quarter. Sun is starting to set. We got a nice moon out here. Got clouds around us. No smoke that we can see, which is kind of amazing. We had 8 fires break out in North Gem County in the last 2 nights from lightning strikes, but they've got them all under total containment already. And
handoff goes to Ho. He takes it outside the tackle and only is going to scramble forward for about 3 yards. Got hit behind the line of scrimmage, but was able to kind of stumble forward with that big physical body of his.
Well, here comes 3rd down, and this has actually been a pretty good down for Columbia on their last couple of possessions.
It has been, but they haven't had this much yardage to have to gain.
So do you fire it with Davis rearing back and looking downfield? They've done it a couple of times. They haven't really looked deep downfield. Everything has been a flare out. And let's see what Davis goes for here. He's going back to pass. He's looking to a right. He's got a man wide open, running out on the field, and boy, he could have been off to the races, and I think that entered his mind as Manny Variz looked back. He looked downfield, then he looked back up again. You can't look back twice.
You got to keep your eyes on that football. It's something was drilled into me by my coaches back in high school. And
that was just trying to get you to snap the ball as a center.
We don't need to talk about that.
Yep.
Point of the matter is you got to keep your eyes on the ball, and if you don't, that's exactly what happens. You get it in your head, I'm going to score, and then you don't make the completion.
Well, and he had a 10-yard margin when the ball went in the air, but it had closed rapidly by the time the ball got to him. Still had a good shot at pulling that one in, but did not. And so with 8:43 to go, they're going to try punting again. This one gets a little bit more lateral movement. It'll be picked up by Brennan at the 43-yard line, gets a block. He's back to the 50. Now he cuts back across into Columbia territory. A lot of yardage north and south, but since the field lies east and west, that's a gain of about 13 on the return. But Huskies will start their second possession in Columbia territory.
That's kind of been the story of the game so far. Everyone's kind of running sideways. Nobody's really making any progress downfield. In fact, of all of the yardage we've gotten tonight, most of it has been penalties.
It certainly has. And that goes to the play of linebackers and the mobility of these two defensive lines in each direction. Is their pursuit has just been absolutely astounding at times. It looks like they're going to have some room to run, and by the time they get back to the line, they're run out of the play. We're going to have two quick on this side of possession. I think the wide receiver at the bottom of your screen jumped just a little bit too early. So that'll cost the Huskies 5, and now they're back in their own territory.
That's going to be Stevie Howe called for a little bit of a jump and a wiggle.
Well, Stevie right now leads the Southern Idaho Conference. In fact, I believe statistically he leads the state in touchdown receptions with 12 on the year. He had 5 of those last week. And
really a breakout performance from the young senior.
And he's had a couple of shots here that they just didn't quite make the connection. Handoff goes back inside. Is that Brennan cutting back in? I believe he'll get back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe pick up an additional yard. And that'll bring up second down and 9.
We'll call it it's 9.
Since we had first and 15, so about a 6-yard gain off of a halfback option coming back in. Perry calling the signals. Fullerton's situated to his right. Fullerton in the block. Pass goes over the middle, and right now, Perry and Howe, that were unbeatable last week, they can't find each other.
I don't even think that was an attempt at a completion. I think that was Perry seeing that his line had absolutely just crumbled. He had 3 defensive linemen in his face, decided, you know what, it's not worth turning the ball over, and just got rid of it. That ball went about 10 yards out of bounds.
He just needed another second or two because Perry was starting to come free on the crossing pattern, but
didn't have the time.
How, but it didn't hook up. So third down and 9, just inside Columbia territory. Brennan in motion, coming to the bottom of your screen. A little flare goes back to Fullerton. Fullerton's going to have to beat a man, and he's not going to do it. Great defensive one-on-one effort over there by number 9. That's not the first time. Andre Waters has had some big tackles on one-on-one, and Fullerton lost that battle, and it's fourth down. Now, do the Huskies continue to play the field position game on fourth down and 10 and punt this one deep, or do you take a shot at it?
Well, you're in Columbia territory, but we have seen Perry punt the ball before from this exact formation, so I wouldn't be shocked if he did it, and there he goes again.
Yeah, he's going to get his foot into this one, and it'll be fumbled at the 20-yard line, and I believe the Huskies are on it.
That's going to be number 14 from the Huskies, Daniel Walker, falling on that ball, and I think
waiting for the official call. There were 2 Wildcats that jumped on it to begin with, or looked for it. And the Huskies certainly thought they had it, but it appears that they're going to give the ball to Columbia. So Columbia is going to get it at the 20-yard line. The punt was a bit of a surprise, but the receiver actually did a great job for Columbia to come over to the ball. If that had dropped, it could have rolled a long ways and really pinned them deep. But then he muffed it, but he was able to cover it. So Columbia has the ball at their own 20-yard line. This is the second time now on their last two possessions they've started at their own 20. Handoff goes to Ho, and this is his biggest run of the night. He's going to get 7 yards out across the 25. Looks like they're going to mark him about the 26.
And you're starting to see this big, powerful Columbia offense start to get rolling. It's something that we've talked about all night. They are a big physical team, and they are a running team. And eventually, these smaller Emmett linemen are going to get worn down. Emmett has been doing that to everyone else all season long with their no-huddle offense, but it looks like they're starting to show some chinks in the armor.
Well, we'll see. It's 2nd down and 4 right now. Handoff again is going to be first down yardage for Ho as he brings it back to the left this time and dives forward just across the 30 to the 30.5, 31. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Columbia. The stat sheet's going to look much better right now for the Wildcats than it does for the Huskies, but the scoreboard has Emmett on top, 6-0, with 6:50 to go here in the first half. Columbia, the last 2 years, the Huskies have won the Southern Idaho Conference Championship, and they have beaten Columbia both times. But when you look back, both of those games against Columbia were the closest wins the Huskies pulled off in winning those championships. They really struggled with Columbia, and it's kind of become a tradition, and it was a concern for Coach Hargett this week getting ready for this game. Ho goes outside, and he's going to run outside and run out of bounds at about the 34-yard line, pick up of maybe 4.
And I think the biggest tell for me is that you've got offensive linemen 5, 6, 7 yards down the field by the time he's ran out of bounds. They are getting some push on that offensive line, and if the Huskies can't figure out how to stack some more in the box and get their linebackers involved, this might be a rough night for the Huskies.
Well, and trying to turn it in. Ho right now, the early game, all of the running was upside, and they were getting nowhere. Now they're trying to exploit it a little bit on the perimeter with the running game. And they've got 3 receivers split to the top of your screen. So they got a lot of showboat of a pass game. And going back to passes, David fires it out into the flat. It's completed, but Walker is there to wrestle the receiver out of bounds for a loss of a yard or 2. Maybe they'll actually give him back to the original line of scrimmage with the initial catch. He was pushed out back at the 30, but they'll place it at the 34-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and a solid 6.5 coming up for Columbia.
It looked like a design screen, but Walker doing a great job not falling back with the receivers that were streaking down the field, saw what was going on, read the play beautifully, and jumped right on the receiver as soon as the ball hit him.
So another big 3rd down play coming up for Columbia. They've had some success on 3rd down plays. Davis rolling the bottom of your screen, looking downfield, fires up a pass that's intercepted. It'll be picked off at the 45-yard line, bringing it back inside the 30 and being roped out of bounds is Ryder Scheibe, the sophomore. The sophomore safety comes up with the pick, first turnover of the ball game, and the Huskies going to have a short field for the second time tonight.
Scheibe didn't start on this football team till the 3rd game of the season, and he has come in and just been a defensive powerhouse for the Huskies this season.
Yeah.
As a sophomore, he's one of the few that start on this team, and he's really been a difference
maker.
maker.
And he came in filling in for Quentin Smith, who was injured in the first game of the season against Blackfoot and still hasn't got the recovery or the right slip from the doctor to say it's okay to return. He's chewing at the bit to get there, but they aren't letting him back on. So Schreibe has that position. Huskies have a couple of others that are nursing some injuries and probably seeing less action tonight than we expected him to see. But right now, they can't really hold back anything, because you can't be thinking about Bishop Kelly yet. You cannot be thinking about Bishop Kelly yet.
Well, and you have to assume that Hargett's been thinking about that all season long. Bishop Kelly has been their bugaboo for, the last 3 years.
Well, and the Huskies have beaten Bishop Kelly the last 2 years in a row, and that's why they've won the championships. And we've been trying to look through the records to see when was the last time any team beat Bishop Kelly 3 years in a row. And the only thing we can possibly go back, we can't get the records, would be in the early years in the 60s and 70s. Bishop Kelly often played against Bora High School, with the losing team having to walk home because they're a half a mile apart over there in the Boise suburbs. Perry with a head fake is going to pick up the ball and run with it, and he'll get about 5 yards. They're going to mark him at the 25-yard line. Looked like he was dead for rights in the backfield, and all of a sudden a little duck stepped up, showed some composure, and yet never took his eyes off the downfield where his receivers were running.
That's one of those plays that you just can't teach. That's that calm head that just natural-born quarterbacks are born with. And a great offensive play, just keeping his eyes downfield, making the defense think, oh, he might still pass it with no intention of throwing the ball.
Well, and he got 4 yards out of it, and this time they're going to get more yards out of Fullerton as he takes it straight ahead, and coming up and giving a little push. I'm not exactly where they're going to call him that. It looked like, and now we have a late hit coming from Columbia on the Emmett running back. Fullerton had broken through, and then all of a sudden one of his linemen came up behind him and gave him another push for it looked like another 5 yards. And I don't know if there's flag. I don't think a flag came out until the late hit.
It did. So what happened there is they blew him down in that big scuttle. Fullerton, being Fullerton, kept pushing, got through and broke it out a little bit. He was already called down on the play. And Columbia, Andre Waters let his emotions get ahead of him and threw a little bit of a late hit there.
Well, it's not going to be a 15-yard penalty because there's not that much territory. It's only half the distance to the goal, so I guess you can appeal to your coach. It didn't cost us 15, Coach. But
it's not something you want to have to argue.
No, and any way you look at it, it's 1st and goal for the Huskies down at the 6-yard line. Perry with the handoff to Fullerton. He'll fade to the left. Now comes back to the right. He's going to be pushed back to the 5, but I think forward progress will get him close to the 4. So a couple of yards there. Again, that patience, trying to find what's open. And quite frankly, Columbia's doing a great job on their line. We're not seeing the holes that the Huskies have taken advantage of most of this season.
No, so far I would actually argue that the Wildcats are beating themselves tonight so far. They've just been overly aggressive, and that's cost them big yardage on penalties. I mean, that first touchdown really came to fruition because of a 30-yard penalty on unnecessary roughness.
Yeah,
so.
And 2 of them on one play, right. Perry back to pass, fires it out in the flat. He was looking out for Brennan and throws it low and away from him.
I mean, you see at the end of every play, the receivers and the D-backs just nipping at each other a little bit, and this has just been a very ugly, aggressive game.
3rd down and 5 or a short 5 coming for the Huskies, but it's actually 3rd and goal, and they can't walk away with only 3 points here. This has been a battle. They need all the points they can get to extend that 6-point lead that they have. Perry with the handoff inside to Fullerton. He'll get a couple of yards, but not enough. It'll be 4th down and about 3 to go for the touchdown. And the Huskies try to kick the extra point. We have seen some consistent kicking from their extra point man the last couple of weeks, but they did not use them for the extra point after the first touchdown tonight. So I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do here. Part of the ego says we want to assert ourselves and say this is our territory. Our line's going to do this. But from 3 yards out, with everybody knowing that's what's going to happen, well, the Huskies are going to take time out and talk about it. So we're going to take some time to talk about some of the people that help make this broadcast possible here on IdahoSports.com. Mountain West Building Supply has everything you need for your next project. You know, whether you're a professional contractor or a do-it-yourself home fixer-upper, they have the supplies. Lumber, paint, hardware, just about anything you can think of, you can find at Mountain West Building Supply. Located just 2 miles west of Emmett on Highway 52, they've got the best supply of old sheds that you can pick up right now to bring home and take all that stuff you still got hanging around the yard and everything that needs to be put away before winter, put it in a nice, cozy new shed.
I don't like how you were looking at me that entire ad. I kind of have a feeling you're giving me a hint. I know my backyard's a mess. I'll get to it eventually.
Okay, well, Mountain West can help you out with all sizes of storage sheds. Yours would have to be pretty small. Yeah. Proud supporters of everything Husky Blue, Mountain West Building Supply, 365-7580.
Well, now we have a timeout from the
Columbia.
Wildcats. So an interesting question. Maybe they're giving Hargett one more chance to rethink this because they were definitely lined up to go for that touchdown. Tucker Welling, the kicker for Emmett, has been phenomenal this season that we talked about, but we haven't seen him so far tonight.
No.
other than, of course, doing the kickoff duties.
Right, and very little of that. So with 3:23 to go, I mean, this first half has really moved right along because it has been primarily a running game.
It has been.
And so far, in fact, I'm trying to figure out, I think Emmett only has one completion so far tonight.
I believe so, yes. They only have the one.
The one flare out to Brennan that
Yep.
he got some first down yardage on that got him down here into inside the 10-yard line. But other than that, their passing game has just not been there. And if you watch last week's game from Lodi, California, everything that went up in the air just looked like it was being dropped dimes into a pocket. I mean, it was just perfect and almost unbelievable, and especially after watching what's not quite clicking here tonight. Perry's going to roll out. He's looking. He's being chased. Now he's going to go back to his left. He's looking for space. He has a wide open man in Brennan as the defender came up to the quarterback. If he didn't come up, the quarterback waltzes in.
Yeah, that's what we call a no-win scenario for the D-back. There's really not much you can do there. When you're out on an island by yourself, you got a quarterback running with nobody in front of him to the end zone, and you got a receiver that you have to cover. Perry put him in a no-win situation, which is exactly what you want to do as the quarterback, and it comes up for 6 for the Huskies.
And you said on an island, there was nobody out there on that third of the end zone except the receiver, the defender, and Perry approaching.
Yeah. No, there was no choice there. So Perry's going to actually pick up this ball, throw it. It's going to be picked off. And in high school football, there is no such thing as a return on an interception on an extra point. So that's going to be blown dead. But too little, too late?
Yeah. And statistically, catch this. That doesn't count as a pass. In the quarterback statistics, it doesn't
count as an interception.
It can be a conversion, but statistically, completions on conversions are not considered part of the passing statistics, which is kind of bizarre.
So Perry doesn't get
he
that
doesn't get
blemish
his,
on
he
his
doesn't get
record.
his third interception of the season there.
Well, we'll give
which
it a
is
technicality.
amazing, for throwing 23 touchdown passes. Because that's where we were wrong earlier. We said only completed 1. He's completed 3 now, 2 of them for touchdowns.
I believe Perry is 3 for 6.
Yeah. So the Huskies with a 12-0 lead, 3:15 to go. This is where the Emmett defense has to stand up. Where they have excelled this season is that we call the 4-4. The last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 minutes of the second, which the Huskies will be receiving the kick. So if they could be able to hold Columbia here and then do something with it, the ball is fumbled away, and it's going to be recovered, I believe, by Columbia, but at about the 22-yard line. And just about every punt or kickoff has bounced off of Columbia players tonight.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you have to coach out of your receivers, and they've been trying to scoop it into the breadbasket, but what they've been doing is it's just been bouncing off their chest. You got to get your hands on the ball if you want to catch with your chest. Otherwise, it's going to do that every time. And so far, we've seen, I think, only one kick that actually was a reception by the returner.
Well, the Huskies defending at the Columbia 22-yard line with a 12-0 lead and 3:12 to go here in the first half. Handoff inside to Ho. He breaks a tackle. He breaks the second and just barely does not get away from Isaac Brennan. He should have been stopped for about a 2-yard gain. Instead, he's going to get about an 8-yard, maybe 9. They're going to put him all the way to the 31-yard line. And he was a little bit of lycra away from taking that one to the house.
He could have broken away there. And as we talked about before, Ho has that speed. He can break away. So very heads-up play by Brennan to swarm that tackle. And that's something we talked about earlier. You got to swarm your defender because as the game gets on, you get lazier and lazier. You get more and more tired. And those little mistakes become big ones. But
Davis just got sacked. Talk about little mistakes, and who's the man?
Christian Sanchez penetrating all the way back in the backfield and is going to come up for a 10-yard loss on the play.
Sanchez stands in at about 6'4", 6'5", is just a junior. He actually is playing with a torn ACL. He has, he jokes, he says he has a metal one because he has a brace on that leg. And yet he's able to move. He's a great athlete, a great kid. And big play there, and they're trying to play him a little bit more sparingly right now, knowing that he's going to be a big target in some of the games that are up ahead yet for the Huskies. And that was a huge loss. So all of the gain by Ho on the previous play wiped out by the sack, and it's 3rd down and 10. And the clock is stopped with 2:24. And I think
it was a timeout by Emmett.
Emmett did take the timeout. So this is a huge play because it's a wasted timeout if you don't stop them to force a 4th down. But if you do, you've got a lot of time yet on the clock and likely to have decent field position.
And though you're thinking about the clock here, I think that's what we call a reset timeout. That's getting your defense, letting your defense really get in the head of this offense, because they're over there talking to their coach, and coaches, he's firing them up trying to get this play going, and that's when you get mistakes.
You're right. Get too much energy, too much emotion, and mistakes happen. 2:24 to go here in the first half. 12-0, Emmett leading over Columbia. And Columbia with the ball, looking downfield as Davis fires it over to the flat, and it's dropped right into the hands to a wide-open receiver who cannot haul it in. And that is number 9, who has been a defensive
Andre Waters.
Yeah, he's just been impossible to deal with one-on-one from the defensive side, but he cannot get a handle on that. 2:19 still on the clock, and it's 4th down and 10. I cannot anticipate Columbia to go for it here from their own 22-yard line. Not with that short a time on the clock to allow that porch to be open. Joe Loomis is coming back to the 40-yard line. At the top of your screen, it's Isaac Brennan at the bottom. They're both back there seeing if they can get a return on this punt. If the punt comes up, it's going to be a little higher than the others have been. And Huskies going to have to stay away from that football. That was close. And I thought for a moment that it might almost be ready to touch number 5, Kalen Conklin, but he did a little sidestep and jumped back from that like a hot potato, and it rolls down to the 41.
It was definitely, he was looking at his defender to try to block and then realized, oh, that's the ball. I need to get away from that thing.
Yes, that's where you got to be screaming, hot potato, hot potato. And that's sometimes what your receiving intended receivers can help do is when that kick is short, let that up man know that he might have some issues coming. But the Huskies with 2:08 to go, Perry calling signals, Emmett at their own 41-yard line. A little flex by Columbia. They're wanting to get off the dime, but still holding their water and staying behind the line of scrimmage. Long count here by Perry. Resets, now gets the snap. Fullerton into block. Perry looking downfield. Now he's going to run back to the left. Has Walker blocking for him. Perry cuts it up the field. He's to the 50. He's to the 40-yard line. He's going to be drugged down by the collar down to the 38-yard or 36-yard line. Not a horse collar type bring down by the collar. They just reached up and pulled him forward. So it's a nice clean tackle there, but a big scramble by Perry to pull the Huskies down into Columbia territory at the 37-yard line. 1st and 10. Nobody in the backfield with Perry here. He's looking downfield. He's going to fire it out, and he throws it out of bounds. He was looking to Fullerton, but Fullerton had a good defender on him. Varese was right there with him. And right now, Columbia's doing a great job of not giving Perry a lot of downfield targets. He's had to go out for the backs out of the field.
Perry's had to really create options with his legs, and he's done a fantastic job doing it. And if you're the Huskies, you definitely want to get on the board again here before half. With 1:38 left in the half, you'd really love to put another touchdown on the board. The handoff is going to go to Fullerton, who's going to break up the middle and is going to get a solid hit that he just trucks right through for a 9-yard pickup, it looks like.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be about a 6-7-yarder when he got hit, and he still was able to push things forward. And do we have another? I think we have an injured player for Columbia. I think it's actually the man who tried to put the stop on Fullerton, and he's slow getting up off the ground. He's now going out of there. And
that's Troy Olmos. I think he got the wind knocked out of him because Rife hit him really hard on that one.
Yeah, helmet right into the belly and got in a couple of yards. In fact, they gave him the full 10. It's a 1st and 10 for Emmett at the 27-yard line. And 1:20 on the clock is running. It didn't stop there. So, and I'm not sure that the Huskies on the field are aware of that because they're not pushing their...
They blew the ball dead. I feel like the clock should have stopped. It didn't. I think the White Hat's going to wave it on, it looks like.
Yeah, it's too late to do anything about it now.
Oh,
and now we have a penalty, and that will back up because, again, wide receiver Howe a little quick to jump on the outside, and that'll bring the ball back 5, so it'll be 1st and 15 at the 32-yard line.
Yeah, we'll see.
And exactly 1 minute to play. I mean,
clock is going to start running again.
Clocks and downs, they're all pretty much you got your whole recipe and your whole lineup of play selection you can work with here. Handoff's going to go to Fullerton. No, excuse me, that's Loomis. He's going to dive forward. He'll get back some of the penalty yardage, in fact, most of it. And timeout is going to be called.
Yeah, it looks like we have a timeout by the Wildcats.
So Columbia wants to talk about it because they know this is critical for them to make a stop here. If Emmett were to be able to get up, 3 touchdowns and get the possession to start the second half, that's a hard position to play from.
Right, especially on a homecoming night. You don't want to give the home team that much of an advantage going into the half. You really want to keep this as close as possible. And ideally, you get the ball back with just a few seconds left to take one more shot downfield.
Well, with 45 seconds to go, that's the other side of it. The Huskies don't want to score too quick. But I don't think they're also really
I don't think that's really a concern.
I don't think they're really concerned about the home run ball. That has not been really in the weapon arsenal of the Wildcats this season. But that doesn't mean it can't be pulled out. But
well, and sometimes that's the most dangerous time to pull it out. You haven't shown it all game, and then all of a sudden you do.
Yeah. Fullerton in the backfield alongside his quarterback. That's Dakota Perry. He's got receivers top and bottom. Howe at the bottom trying to race across the middle of the field. Perry's going to look for him. He has him wide open! Touchdown, Huskies!
And that's going to be Stevie Howe just getting wide open. They sent the entire house to try to get to Perry, and Perry found the open man.
They did, but the Huskies had 2 receivers split to the top of your screen to the left side. They came across the field to the right. Howe went from the right directly against the defenders, went with the 2 coming across. Howe was wide open for a 32-yard score. And Perry has his 3rd touchdown of this ball game.
The kick is up and is good, so they are going to forego the 2-point conversion and actually just kick this one to bring it to 19-0.
Now, the only bad part of this for the Huskies to some degree is there's still 38 seconds on the clock.
You know, with how your defense has been playing, I don't know if I'm too concerned about that. Yeah. They've allowed some yardage, but they really haven't allowed those big plays, and that's what's going to need to happen if the Columbia wants to get on the board before half.
Yeah, and the last couple of passes from Perry have had zip and lift that we didn't see in the first quarter. Everything seemed to be just kind of darts that didn't give much opportunity for reception. But right now they're ready to kick it off as Wellington's going to step out there.
Well, and I think the biggest difference that we've seen in this second quarter is that Perry has gotten his legs involved in the game. He's started creating options by moving around, whereas in the first quarter he tried to stay in the pocket and didn't see any success. So now Perry, being more mobile, getting his receivers time so that they can get open, and he's seeing results.
Has now thrown 24 touchdown passes in 5.5 football games for the Huskies this year. Kick goes deep, and the great return started for Columbia. That's one of the first times they've really handled the ball. And defensively for the Huskies, number 9 jumping in there to pull him down.
That's Kyan Carter.
Yeah, Kenyon Carter. He plays quarterback on the JV team. And
he's been consistently seeing 1 to 2 quarters on the varsity every game, so it's good to see young talent up there.
He's got great speed and just a little more knowledge of the game. He's going to be a factor the next couple of years.
Well, especially with Perry graduating this year.
In fact, I think he's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, who's going to be the heir apparent? There's a couple of them on the JV team. Both the JV and freshman teams for Emmett have lost 1 game this year, and both of those have been to JV teams out of Boise schools. Run attempt there by Ho. He's drugged down for a 1 or 2 yard gain.
He's going to on the coverage.
He's going to feel like he's got a lot of yardage on him tonight, but most of it is going vertically.
Well, and it looks like that's going to be the half. They're very content to not run another play. There's 9 seconds left, and they have no rush on them. So I think that's going to be the half.
Well, it's going to be a long half here too, folks, because this is homecoming, so you've got all kinds of the traditional homecoming stuff that's going on. But also at halftime here tonight, they are going to be dedicating the field in the memory of a longtime educator, sports fan, coach, community leader, Tony Villanueva, who passed away this last year. The field at Husky Stadium will now be called Tony Villanueva Field, and that ceremony is going to be taking place here at halftime, as well as the crowning of a homecoming king and queen, and a prince and princess, and a duke and a duchess. So a lot of activities to be coming up, and we're going to be right here for them. We're going to take a break, and when you come back, you may just get your camera and everything focused in on the activities down on the field. We'll let you know that first. This is at least an extra 5-minute. We've got a full 20-minute halftime here tonight.
High school sports teams are known for their unity. No matter what's happening on the field, they stick together. Players, coaches, students, parents. One big family. That's why Mountain West Bank is so proud to sponsor Idaho high school sports. Today, tomorrow, together.
Some days, I choose the most difficult trail. I test my limits.
Taking the hard path isn't always easy, but I know it's the right way.
When I get done with my ride and I look back at what I've just accomplished, I feel amazing.
It takes courage and determination to do hard things.
But you can do them.
Quitting tobacco and vaping is possible.
You decide when. We'll show you how. Learn more at projectfilter.org or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
You can't make summer stand still, so make the most of every last second with a new Toyota at Toyota's National Sales Event.
During Toyota's National Sales Event, discover our wide variety of fuel-efficient electrified vehicles. Toyota, let's go places.
We're a valley-wide country store. For 100 years, we've been your #1 choice for food, fuel, farm supplies, and just about everything else you could need to get you through your day. We know you work until the job is done, and so do we. For gas on the go, or a little extra to help you get down the road, you can count on us. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're valley-wide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
Because you already give them something money can't buy. We'll help with everything else, no matter what life holds. Mountain West Bank. Today, tomorrow, together.
Ulysses and Haley both representing soccer and Idaho. Haley signs after high school and will attend college with her best friend at the same university. Melissa's plans after high school are to attend college and get a minor in business and eventually own a welding company. They would also like to travel the world with a special someone. Give it up for Ulysses and Haley. Our sixth couple is Matt Roy and Cameron Brown. Matt and Cameron are representing both. Cameron plans after high school to attend Boise State University and study to become an ultrasound technician, get married and have kids. Matt's plans after high school are to study engineering at the University of Idaho while growing a Lego collection. Give it up for Matt and Cameron. Our seventh couple, forgive me if this is wrong, Calvin Williams and Jack Patterson. Calvin is representing the mountain biking club and Jack is representing the marching band. Jack plans after high school to go to college and study flute performance. Calvin's plans after high school are to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and then go to college to become an orthodontist. Give it up for Calvin and Jack. Ethan Brown and Lacey Quinzer. Ethan is representing the Mountain Biking Club and Lacey is representing cheer. Lacey's plans after high school are to attend ISU and work her way to becoming a pediatric oncology nurse. Then she plans to marry a hot cowboy, live on a ranch, and have lots of babies and animals. Ethan's plans after high school are not to go to college like all you crazy people. He was just going to give it up for Ethan and Lacey. Our ninth couple is Bryson Paul and Angela Barlow. Bryson is representing the marching band and Angela is representing cheer. Angela plans after high school to attend college to get a business degree and then go to cosmetology school. After that, she plans on becoming a hot mom. Bryson's plans after high school and to get married to his high school sweetheart and start his electrician apprenticeship. Give it up for Bryson and Angela. Our last couple is Landon Barron and Lena Weiner. Landon is representing marching band and Lena is representing cross country. Lena's plans after high school are to go to college at ISU for a year, then serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. After that, she wants to finish college and go to some aerial skills conventions overseas and have the best life ever. Landon's plans after high school are to attend U of I for music composition and theory. And give it up for Landon and Lena. We'll start the most important part of the night. The Duke and Duchess, Sam Schroeder and Tessa Farnsworth. Prince and Princess, Matt Roy and Lena Weiniger. And our king and queen, drum roll. And Reese Myers.
Down on the field right now, you have the homecoming court for 2022. On the far left is your king and queen, just crowned, Rye Fullerton, number 25. So big football night for the quarterback. And Reese Myers named as queen. Actually, the 3 football players are among those that were in the courts that represent all the different activity groups on campus during the fall. And one of them's he's already left here, scooting back. One of the linemen, he's heading back to get to his team, and he's ready to play football again.
Sam Schroeder just running off.
Yeah.
He's back in the field, and there goes Rye following him back out.
Yeah,
so
they're going to get back to
they're back to business already.
Yeah, they've got to get back there, and of course Daniel Walker, another one of the 3. So 3 football players in part of the festivities. Now we have a marching band on the field at one end, but now moving to the middle of the field will be the family of Tony Villanueva again, and we're going to try to go by the announcer. Hopefully we can pick up what he's talking about for you here.
To make a very special announcement. For many years, Tony J. Villanueva dedicated himself to the community of Emmett, coaching football, baseball, teaching, and serving as a city councilman, writing sports columns for the USA Today, the Boston Globe, the New York Times, and he was the official critic and media liaison for Notre Dame football. Some of you might have even experienced his writings in the famous Messenger Index. However, his most famous writings and his influence came in the form of a little blue slip. How many in the crowd tonight ever received a Mr. D blue slip? Raise your arm. If you ever got a blue slip, raise your arm. Yeah, Bob Hyde, you can raise yours. This mic is killing me. If you were here in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s at Emmett High School, your life was influenced for the better from Mr. D. He was a mountain of a vast man who made every kid who walked into his office a better person. He was a true legend. Tonight, alongside of his family, I am truly honored to do this. And I ask all of you to stand up in the bleachers, turn around and look at our new press box. And I'm going to count you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift it up. To be the first to welcome you to the now official Tony J. Villanueva Field. Nathan, go around that bell. Ring it up. Get the top off on it. Ring that sucker.
We've kind of left this open for some ceremonies that were going on here because we didn't want to be talking. You hear the victory bell ringing. That is not because the ball game is over. That is a tradition here. When they do anything kind of special is to ring the bell, and they're ringing the bell because they have just unveiled the name Tony J. Villanueva Field on the press box here because that is what now the field here at Husky Stadium will be called in the future. Tony was a coach, an administrator, a teacher. He coached at the youth levels. He coached at the high school levels. He was a city councilman here in Emmett. He wrote for the Messenger Index at times in sports, and he wrote stories that are legendary. Not necessarily as great journalism, but as great fantasy. And he had a great way of telling stories that people really got to love in the community. I'm not sure today's generation would understand it because he had an ability to do sarcasm and irony that a lot of people can't get. But in his time, he was beautiful, and unfortunately, Tony passed away this past spring. His funeral was actually held in the gymnasium here at the high school at the time, and I just found out yesterday that they were going to be doing this, and certainly the family members were down on the field. There's who you were watching. And we were unable to show you the unveiling because it is directly beneath where we're standing, and we can't turn our cameras on ourselves. So it's right here, but it is with the new press box that's gone in. I think folks that maybe haven't been around Emmett, we had a very small press box for a long time, and this past summer, Coach Hargett got with some of the business leaders in the community, and they put together 3 railroad cars, essentially, or Shipping containers is a better way to put it. Stacked them up on each other, did some renovations, and then we found that we still had to go up on top of the third one. So we're probably about 25 feet higher than we normally are when we broadcast from the top. But it's a great view and a great lot of space down here, and it's typical of the Emmett community. They find ways to get things done, not necessarily by the way everyone sees the book or the big funds, but they come together and they get it done, and that's what they've done here. And we're kind of waiting to see if the band is actually going to take the field, because we're down to 3 minutes on the clock. And
well, the clock is stopped, so I think they are going to hold off and let the band do their thing. While the band's playing, we're going to kind of talk about the first half a little bit. So far, I think the story of the game has been fighting, aggression, and just people, players getting a little nippy. Yeah. We've discovered Columbia had 56 allotted yards on penalties for personal fouls. Yeah. And that's just what stuck, not counting offsetting penalties.
There were a couple of times we had offsetting penalties, and that should have been 60, but one of them comes up short because it was done near the end zone and set it up. We talked before the ball game that penalties and turnovers could be a factor in this one, and penalties have certainly come into play. And really, the first quarter was controlled by Columbia offensively. They were moving the ball somewhat. Emmett did not get their first down until the last play of the first quarter. But when they did, they then started taking advantage of the opportunities that we're getting. And we talked about that Dakota Perry seemed to be struggling with his timing and his passing after just a superb week last week in California. But statistically, you look at it, we haven't had any big plays, but he's thrown 3 more touchdown passes in the first half here, all in the second quarter. He now has 24 touchdown passes in 5.5 games, and that 24 breaks the school record of 20 that had been set a couple of times over the last decade. And
we're only 5 games in.
Yeah, I said we're 5.5 games in. We have, 3.5 games for sure still remaining. But we also are anticipating right now, if the Huskies win this ball game, which they have the 19-0 lead on, they're likely to have already clinched a playoff berth. The way the playoffs set up in Idaho, there are 25 teams in the 4A rank, 16 of them make the playoffs, but only 8 of them get automatic buys and home berths in the first round. And that is why this game is important for the Huskies, and one of the next 2 is critical. And we say that because there are 2 teams from this conference that will get host berths in the first round. Now, if the Huskies want to be a 3-time defending Southern Idaho Conference champion, they have to get the victory at Bishop Kelly next week, because Bishop Kelly is the only other team in the conference that's undefeated in league play. Bishop Kelly's actually undefeated on the season. They're ranked number 1 in the state in some of the polls. Huskies are still not even showing up in the media polls, though they do show up just outside of the top 5 in the coaches poll. But Bishop Kelly and Skyline, who's the 3-time defending champion, they're at the top one way or the other in the 2 polls. And so next week, Emmett at Bishop Kelly will be huge. But for our fans that are listening that are Columbia fans, no matter what happens in this ballgame, you still have your season in front of you, because there are 8 teams that will be selected as wild cards, and there are only 16 total teams across the state to fight for those 8 spots, because Caldwell is not eligible because they're not playing a full 4A schedule or in the conference this year. So very easily, this Southern Idaho Conference with only 6 eligible teams could possibly get 4, even 5 teams into that final 16.
Right, and it's something we kind of talked about at the beginning of the season. You really, the possibility for getting a playoff berth is really a matter of only getting 4 wins. Really, if you look at the season wide.
Yeah, and maybe less.
Possibly less, but 4 would really select you to really solidify your berth into the playoffs. And right now, Columbia is sitting at 1-4. Now, that's not great, but you look at who they have coming up, and there's some possibilities for some wins.
Yeah, there certainly are. Well, they haven't packed this one in either. I mean, we saw a lot of fight in this first half, legitimate and otherwise, and I expect that to continue in the second half. And if the Huskies don't mind their business and take care of the ball, but a lot of that conjecture of the second half can be determined in the first 4 minutes of the second half, because the Huskies scored on their last 3 possessions in the first half, including twice in the last 4 minutes of the first half, and they get the kickoff comes to them to start the second half. If they were to go down and score again at that point, then all of a sudden the spacing becomes rather
becomes
problematic.
Dangerous. Exactly. Yeah. And something we need to talk about is, yes, Huskies are up 19-0, but not really only of their own accord, as we've talked about. Really, the last drive was the only one that was not helped by this Columbia defense causing penalties or making mistakes. So Columbia, if you're looking for your way back into this game, it's just play smarter, play more level-headed, and just play your game and not let the Huskies get in your head.
Yes, because the penalties have not been pass interference calls or misplays. In fact, we've seen some fantastic defensive plays, particularly one-on-one stops by Columbia defenders here tonight. It's often been calls after the whistle. Yeah. And those are just very difficult to deal with. And sometimes you can be in a game and get away with a lot of that because the officials don't call it. But so far tonight, they certainly have in some critical situations.
And I have to take my hat off to the officials. They've been absolutely fantastic tonight. I don't think they've missed a single call, in my opinion. They've done a great job keeping this game under control. And when you get games like this where players are biting at each other and, fights are popping up, you got to really put the hammer down early. Otherwise, they can get out of control later. So they've done a fantastic job so far in front of a sold-out crowd here at Emmett for a homecoming night.
Huge crowd here tonight. A lot of standing room at both ends of the stands. It's not a huge facility by any capacity, and a nice crowd from Columbia on the far side of the field that also made the trip over from Nampa. But again, it was a very special night, and the last couple of years the team has brought the community together in a lot of ways. It's an interesting dynamic that Hargett brings to the team. Not only does he demand a lot from his team all year long in weightlifting and conditioning and being the best they can, but he also demands an awful lot from them in community service. Every time you turn around, either the full team or portions of the team are doing a rake up of leaves or a cleanup of this project or doing something else in the community. And oftentimes they do it the morning after a ball game on the weekend. I know they'll be involved in the Rake Up Emmett coming up in the middle of November, and involved in a trash cleanup project that we've got going on the 24th of October, and very passionate about giving back to the community that they feel supports them so strongly with their athletic programs here, and particularly the football program. And if you're just out and about, we invite you. We only have one home game left. It's hard to believe, other than playoffs. Senior night coming up in 2 weeks will be a Donnybrook, because Valley View is coming. And right now, they really look to be the third element in the leadership in the conference. They got hit pretty good by Bishop Kelly the other night, but they put up a lot of points and a lot of rushing yardage. And Valley View will be here in 2 weeks, and that will be senior night. And there's also an opportunity that night to get in on a raffle on this really cool ATV. I mean, it is really cool.
The last thing you need is an ATV.
Well, it's a two-person ATV.
I have no interest in being in an ATV with you whatsoever.
Well, I have no interest in having you behind me on the ATV for anything ever. But anyway, that raffle, it's $100 a ticket. They're only going to sell 300 tickets. But that will be up at homecoming or at senior night here in a couple of weeks. So if you haven't already got one of those tickets, they've got a few of them sold, but they still have some available. Great chance for a nice little thing. What a great kick into the end zone. That kickoff, that is the first kickoff we've actually had from Columbia tonight. They've had some struggles with their punting game, but the kicking game looks perfect, and the Huskies, no opportunity to return it. Will have to start at their own 20, and this will be as deep as they've had to start any possession throughout the ballgame.
Great point you made, and honestly a very tactical decision to get that ball out the back of the end zone. Loomis has been phenomenal on kickoff returns so far this year. I think we're over 400 yards in return yards this
something
year?
like that. And between Loomis and Brennan together had over 200 yards in the game against Lake City, played at Baker, and they still kept kicking it to them. But Huskies trying to get some running game going, which they haven't done, and Dry Fullerton took his crown off, and he left it on the sideline, and he also leaves some of the defenders behind him as he goes 10 yards on the first carry of the second half. And this is where we have seen the Huskies assert themselves on the last 3 games, start of the second half.
Now something we gotta look at. We do have an injured player down on the field, and that is number 24.
Ooh. Aho is down, the big running back, and of course he plays linebacker also and safety for Columbia, and he is down.
And he's holding his knee, which is never a good sign.
Holding an ankle is one thing, but holding, and as a running back, don't want to see that.
You don't want to play with the knee. So
hopefully it's not serious with any capacity. That's the last thing we need for anybody at this point. Gem Supply and Building Co-op in Emmett is the helpful place for all your building and hardware needs. They offer friendly, knowledgeable, personal service, quality products, and a convenient shopping experience from local experts who know you best. Visit them at 402 North Washington Avenue in Emmett. They're open 7 days a week. Gem Supply and Co-op wants to wish the Emmett boys the best of luck in the game tonight. They're rooting for the Huskies. Lori and the crew down at Gem Supply always supporting youth activities throughout the community, and certainly their Huskies, and whether it's football or volleyball or any other sport or 4-H and livestock shows, that's exactly where Gem Supply is standing behind their kids in this community. So 1st and 10 for the Huskies at the 30 after that first 10-yard play. The second handoff goes to Fullerton, again met at the line of scrimmage. He's going to get a couple of yards before he's pushed back. Like I said, I am really impressed defensively with the line and the linebackers at Columbia tonight. They have really stood up as well as anybody we've seen this year against the Husky running attack.
I would have to make the argument, if they hadn't caused so many penalties on themselves, I think this would be a very different looking game.
Very close game. It could be still a scoreless game at that point.
I honestly believe this would be a lot closer. They've kind of beaten themselves so far. The pitch goes to Fullerton, who takes it outside. He's going to bounce it back inside for a nice 3-yard gain.
First traffic met him at the line of scrimmage, and he just kind of little skip back to the left. Then he meets another defender, a little skip back to the left, then falls forward for 5. 3rd down and 4 coming up for the Huskies. The ball out at the 36-yard line. They would love to get this conversion to keep the drive going, because they can certainly kind of put their stamp on this football game if they could score on this possession. And Perry calling signals, using the hand motions rather than kind of the clap. Gets the snap back, fires it out into the flat. Wide open is Walker, and Walker gets 10, 12 yards. He's all the way out to the 49-yard line. And now we have a whistle flag in the backfield.
It was in the backfield, but I believe it was thrown because of what was going on downfield.
So another personal scrimmage going on?
Yeah, and the white hat is over talking to the coach and is not happy. I'm concerned this could be a ejected player.
Well, it's kind of strange here. The Huskies have kind of backed up, but the indication was from the one of the Emmett players that he thought that there was a call coming up against Columbia, and so the conversation continues on the far sideline, And I don't know if I haven't seen anybody removed. I haven't seen the flag picked up. I haven't seen any indication.
And number 7, what's happening there? Personal foul on the defense.
So, and that will be added onto the line of after the 13-yard gain on the pass play to Daniel Walker out of the tight end position. So we're going to walk another 15 against Columbia deep into their own territory.
And it's going to be a warning on number 75. If he gets another one, he's out of this game.
So obviously officials are watching something.
I would love to tell you who 75
Well,
is.
and quite frankly, I'd been told earlier this week from a different coach from another school that had been watching and said that there's been some issues in the last few games with some of that. And he was wondering when the officials were going to crack down. Well, they seem to be doing that tonight.
Yeah, it was 75 that was called on. I don't have a 75 on my roster.
Yeah, there's a
here.
76 out there, I think.
Yeah, there is a 76, but he's right next to him, so
yeah.
I'm not sure.
So the roster we have, obviously not quite, so we won't reveal the culprit at this point. But it is another first down for the Huskies, and they're all the way down to the 36-yard line. Perry rolls back. He's in traffic. He's in trouble. No, he gets away. He's rolling out to the left. He's going to fire downfield. He throws it down, and it doesn't really matter because he was past the line of scrimmage.
He was, and I was wondering that.
Waiting for the official to throw the flag.
Yeah.
He was about the 35, and he was a good yard in front of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And I think once you cross it, it's gone. Could you go back behind?
No,
I don't
once
think
you
so.
pass the line of scrimmage, you are not allowed to go back and throw the ball.
Because he was running very much laterally, but the pass didn't go anywhere. But it will be a penalty that'll make the yardage a little bit deeper here.
I believe it's a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah,
5-yard
illegal
penalty.
forward pass beyond the line of scrimmage.
There's some good news. I can't say his name. Ikaika Ho
is back.
He's up. He's back in the field. Looks like it was more like a cramp that he worked out. So he worked that out on the sideline, and he's back in the game.
Well, that's good. We thought, from the early indication, maybe we had a knee issue, but Ikaika's back out there and playing defense. So a second down and 15 for the Huskies. They are at the Columbia 41-yard line. We've played almost 2 minutes now here in the second half as the Huskies try to extend a 19-0 lead. Perry rolls out. He's going to fire downfield, races it down to Brennan for the touchdown. Brennan gets behind, and it's a rope from Perry for 41 yards. His fourth scoring toss of the night. His fourth scoring toss on the last 4 possessions for the Huskies.
He has been perfect the last 4 possessions, and that was the prettiest ball I think I've ever seen been thrown by a high school quarterback. It was a perfect spiral all the way through the air. That's not 41 yards on the catch and run. That's 41 yards on the catch.
Yeah.
And that's an arm you don't see in high school.
No, and we've been watching that mature this year, and that is is that the second one? That's the second one from Brennan, for Brennan to haul in from Perry.
Now we have an offsides called on the defense on the extra point, so they're going to re-kick the ball.
Now when you're moved a little closer, do you go ahead and kick, or do you try to get it back?
They did kick it, and it went in, but the problem is it's a dead ball foul, so the ball they blew it dead.
Yeah,
they
stopped.
He will have to re-kick it, even though he just made it.
Right. And it looks like maybe they've declined the penalty to just leave the same spot on the field. Doesn't look like they moved it forward.
Well, it would be half the distance to the goal, so it'd only be about a yard anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty small in that regard. So Welling in to kick the extra point. And now we have another infraction, I believe. Well, let's see. Maybe that'll be against them. It looked like we might have had someone. Yes, it was a defensive infraction. On this end, I wasn't sure he made contact, though. But must have crossed the line of scrimmage and not just moving.
Well, and they're going to decline that one, actually, that time. So.
Yep.
Here we go again. Third try at this PAT.
They're doing everything they can to try to get a jump on trying to get to that kick. And it's not going to get there in time, and the kick is going to go through. So the Huskies have extended their lead now to 26-0 as we have 10 minutes and 1 second remaining here in the first quarter. So in the 4-4 that we talk about, we've only played 6 of those 8 minutes, but the Huskies have scored 3 times.
Yeah. Not what you want to see if you're this Columbia defense. And We talked about this already. The emotions have already been running high. Well, when you get down this far and you haven't scored, it can be dangerous, and you can get players to get even more emotional, and that's not what we want here. We want a good, clean game that leads to some sportsmanship, but we'll see what we get.
We'll see what happens here. Well, then up there to do the kicking, he's done a pretty good job of putting it deep at times this year, but he also has had times where he puts it up high at about the 20, and the coverage team gets down there, and they get some opportunities, especially where the ball's bounced around on some of the kicks tonight.
A lot of muffed receptions on these kicks. We'll see what happens here. It's a nice long line drive.
Yeah, good end over end, taking it at the 10 and picking it up and bringing it around from the far side. And going to get some yardage, but not near as much as it looked like at first, was number 9 for the, that's Andre Waters again. Waters, a solid-looking athlete. He's had some great defensive plays and some good moves of the wide receiver. He's a 5'10", 180-pound senior. And he gets the ball from the 10 up actually only to the 18-yard line. Now, felt like it was a lot of bigger gain than that. But
Daniel Walker got down there and got the coverage, wrapped him up, and didn't let him go. It was great coverage on the kick.
So Columbia with the ball at their own 18. 9:55 remaining here in the third quarter. Emmett with a 26-0 advantage right now on Columbia. And the Huskies have really been trying to get some defensive numbers, because I know they felt they've given up some cheap scores this season, and they don't want that to happen. And right now trying to get some running room and finding none of it in the backfield. And now we've got 2 flags going up.
And they're both going to be on number 62 from Emmett. That's going to be Hunter Enoch called for unnecessary roughness. He had his offensive lineman on the ground and decided to throw a couple punches at the very end there.
Oh, and he's coming out of there right now.
Yeah, coach
is pulling
happy.
him out of there, and he's going to give it to him. Hunter is a wrestler, and he's also an exceptional weightlifter.
Yeah, when you got a big guy hitting you, that's not okay.
Yeah, that's not what you want. And defensive coach Zane Hines right now is really giving it to Hunter right now.
Hunter's going to be sitting down for a little bit, I think.
Because the team had collectively brought the running back down for about a 4-yard loss, and it was going to be second down and long back at about the 15 or 13-yard line. Instead, it is now 1st and 10 for Columbia all the way out to the 29. They still got a ways to go, but fresh life, fresh downs.
Hand off to Ho, who's going to go up the middle and going to get swarmed.
But he's got a little bit of line drive there, so he gets a little bit of ground. He'll pick up about 4, it looks like, from the 29 to the 33. It'll be second down and 6 coming up for the Wildcats. I was trying to figure out who Wildcats have yet this season to go with in the conference, because I know they've already played Valley View. And they do have Bishop Kelly yet ahead on the schedule, I believe. Back to pass. Wow. Now you don't see that kind of a deflection. That was a pinpoint pass right into the helmet of the receiver and a 20-yard carry him off.
I think it hit him in the chest, actually. It bounced off his chest. Once again, you got to catch the ball with your hands, and the quarterback is letting his receiver have it. He put that thing right where it needed to be and just couldn't get it wheeled in.
He was right at the first down marker, too, and boy, when you see it go up in the air like that, you're wondering is anyone going to get to it to possibly pick it off, but it was actually in safe territory. It was all green turf over there. So 3rd down and 6 coming up for Columbia at the 33-yard line. Davis rolls out the pass. He's going to roll and go for the first down yardage. First time we've really seen him scamper outside at all tonight, and showed some decent wheels, taking advantage of that defensive backfield, dropping back to look for the pass. He picks up about 15, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Columbia at their own 44-yard line.
We talked about that penalties can give new life, and it seems to have been just the trick that Columbia needed, because they are marching.
Well, and it was 2 personal fouls on one play that gave Emmett 30 yards that set up their first score and really set some momentum in this ball game, because at that point we were just playing defense both ways. Davis looking downfield. He's firing out there, outlet, and tipping it away. I think that's
Stevie Howe.
Stevie Howe got a hand up. He was trailing a little bit, but he was able to get the hand up, and he's done a really good job of that this year. He always draws the lead receiver, particularly the taller receivers from the teams that the Huskies have played against, and he did a good job of tipping that one away.
So all of a sudden, this Columbia run-focused offense has woken up in the passing game, and that's exactly what you want to see come down when you're down 26.
Well, I see you really don't have many options here. Trying to get back in this ball game, you need some home run balls. The kick out goes to Ho. Ho gets first down yardage, a nice run, but we have a flag back at the line of scrimmage, thrown on the cut, which you normally see a hold called.
Yeah, that's going to be a hold on the offense, so that's going to be brought back. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty and repeat of down, I believe. So it's going to be second and about 15, 16?
Yeah, we'll see how they mark it back. Yeah, but Ho got 11 on it and had it scampered around the corner, but apparently must have got a little help in making that corner. At least that's what the flag would indicate. And it's a 10-yard march off. So it'll be second down and 20. Actually, they mark it about 11 because it must have been behind the line of scrimmage. So from the point of the infraction, it's an 11-yard. Well, yeah, we'll call it 11. So second down and 21 coming up for Columbia back at their own 34-yard line. Pass intended for Ho out of the backfield, and it's fired too hard and too low in front of him. It'll go incomplete. It'll be third down and 21.
It's really been a story of penalties in this game. Not a lot of offensive yards accumulated by either side.
Yeah, the final stat sheet is not going to stun you with like 500 yards of passing or rushing.
No.
And yet some of the small numbers will seem huge. For example, Perry with 4 touchdown passes.
And only about 150 yards.
Yeah, or probably less than that. I'm not sure he's even 100 yards. Maybe with the long 41-yard it got there, but been very efficient in the scoring side of it. Pass goes out to Ho this time. He's going to get some yardage as he is able to haul it in before he's chased out. He's back to the 40-yard line, but it'll still bring up fourth and about 14. We're going to put it at the 39, so 4th and 15 coming up for Columbia.
And Michael Kerbel, the kicker, has been brought out on the field, so looking like a punt.
Yeah, we're going to think we got a punt here. Kerbel's in there with 8:23 to go. Loomis and Brennan are back. Like I said, we haven't really seen them have an opportunity since the game at Baker against Lake City 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
So let's see if maybe they'll get an opportunity here for a return.
Oh, ball goes over the top of the punter. It's all the way down to and he kicks it backwards out of bounds, and that's going to be a penalty.
Well, it'll be a safety. He kicked it through the end zone.
Well,
so it should
there was a flag, but that might have been a safety flag?
Should be a safety when you kick it through your own end zone, and then you'll punt it. You have a free kick coming up. They haven't added it to the scoreboard.
I'm not
unless in high school rules where you cannot advance an extra point kick or anything, maybe you cannot advance.
Well, the White Hat's coming over to talk to Hargett because this is where the rules. This is not a common occurrence.
Well, it's a strange thing because if they do it where they've got it marked at the 8-yard line, it'll be Husky ball, 1st and 10 at the Columbia 8. But it should be, I believe, a 2-point.
It's declined. It is a safety.
It is a safety. Okay, there was a penalty as well.
Yes.
So that's what we were holding up for. It is a safety. It becomes 28 points, and Columbia will have to free kick it to Emmett.
And as much as that's a mistake, I almost have to agree with the punter there.
Yeah,
it was either that or we give the ball to Emmett at the 2-yard line, and that's certainly going to be a touchdown. So actually a very heads-up play by the punter.
Yeah, if he wasn't wanting to bend over, pick that up, and try to make something out of it and get killed, he probably made the right choice.
Yeah, I think he definitely made the right choice. So a very heads-up play from a young player.
But the penalty looks, well, no, they'll kick from the 20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the
after
punt
the
will
safety.
be from the 20. It is technically a kickoff, but it's going to be punted.
And he can punt or he can kick. You have the choice
it looks like
on
he
the
will
free
kick.
and he's good. And looking at what he did earlier on the kickoff of this half, I'd say, yeah, let's put a tee out there and get some yardage. But that also then creates a lot of space in front of these kick returners.
What a bizarre game we've had so far.
Yeah, we've had just about every possible configuration happen. Nice kick that's going to be taken at the 20 by Brennan. And Brennan looking for Loomis to block, gets one. He gets to the 30, he gets to the 40. He's up to the 50-yard line as he was in deep traffic for about 12 yards there, but just kept pulling it ahead. And so a 30-yard return for Isaac Brennan, and the Huskies will start at midfield.
This game has been all over the place, and it's hard to kind of wrap your head around it. But so far, we've got 28 points on the board, which you'd think that would be 4 touchdowns and 4 extra points.
Yeah,
but it hasn't been the case.
Well, you got there. But, we talk about the 4 and 4. We are just now at about the 4-minute mark into the second half, when all the scoring, all but one touchdown for the Huskies has taken place. If they were to score here on a quick. That would be unbelievable. No, they're going to go to Fullerton inside, and he's going to go straight ahead. And this is where, with a 28-point lead and 8 minutes to go, I'm expecting we're going to see a heavy dose of running up the middle by the Huskies, which is where their line has asserted themselves, but they haven't been able to do that against Columbia tonight.
No, that really has been the story of Huskies' second half football this year. They air it out in the first half, and then they just go to their running game, go to Fullerton, and their offensive line has just been pushing around other teams. That hasn't been the case against Columbia, who only runs a 3-man down defensive line.
So pass goes outside to Brennan again, the Swiss Army knife out of the junior pocket, and he picks up about 12, 13 yards. Like I said, that's kind of where Perry does. He throws a little bit outside, keeps it inside, and then all of a sudden he goes for the home run ball. And because of penalties, a couple of those didn't have to be that long a ball, but he's had a few. Let's see what they do here. I expect them to try to run the clock as much, but they've got to start reestablishing themselves on the line, because next week against Bishop Kelly, they'll play probably one of the finest lines in the state of Idaho at any division. Bishop Kelly is that strong on the defensive side. They've given up, I think, 2 touchdowns all season, and it's going to be tough. So a timeout being called down on the field, and we're going to talk to you about some of the sponsors who make this broadcast possible. We also remind you that we're going to have a really difficult chore choosing a player of the game coming up later tonight, because there's no absolute blow-up statistical leader in many regards that we can turn to. This ball game on IdahoSports.com GameStreams is brought to you in Treasure Valley Game Night by Mountain West Bank, also by our major advertising partners, Project Filter, Valleywide Cooperative, the Idaho Transportation Department, the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, Next Steps Idaho, and your Toyota dealers. Also brought to you locally in the ball game here this evening by Hannigan Auto Sales, by Mountain West Building Supply, and by Gem Supply Co-op in Emmett. 7:19 still remaining in the third quarter. The first half went fast. We had a long halftime with all kinds of festivities. The second half has really been bogged down. Perry's going to keep the ball again, cuts back inside, will end up getting 6-7 yards. He was looking out. He had Howe out there for a moment, but decided to tuck it and keep it inside. So a pickup of 7 for Perry on the run. Last week he threw for 5 and ran for 1, so he had 2 consecutive weeks. He was responsible for 6 touchdowns. He's only got 4 tonight, so he's
I was going to say,
trailing.
He's on track.
Yeah. Hand off to Fullerton. Fullerton breaks the tackle. He's going to get forward first down yardage, down inside to the 20-yard line. Again, he always seems to find a way to get extra 3-4 yards at the end of the contact.
And he's really the dream running back for a coach that just wants a consistent running back. He's very patient. He has that athleticism, but he doesn't always rely on it. He waits, he's patient, and then he keeps his feet moving at the end.
Yeah, the very fundamental football player. 6:16 to go. Huskies on the drive, again to Fullerton. This time he's met in the backfield. Boy, the piling in there. Great defensive penetration for Columbia.
Number 28.
28, that is Khalil Shalalak. And he got in there quickly. He's a sophomore. They start a lot of seniors for Columbia, but you'll watch in the movement of the roster, they play a lot of young players. It's a new program trying to get going again under Coach Charlie Dotson. This is his first year and trying to establish an identity, and he's got a lot of young players to work into that mix. And that'll be Loomis this time who takes the cut back, finds a nice hole, gets down to the 15, we'll call it the 14-yard line. So after a loss on the previous carry by Fullerton, about an 8-yard pickup, so we have a third down and four coming up for the Huskies in the red zone.
Once again, this Huskies no-huddle offense starting to wear down this defensive line. Now we're starting to see some holes developed by this offensive line.
Perry with lots of traffic fires right over the middle, and the reception is made at the 2-yard line by Stevie Howe. That is the bullets that we were watching last week. And Howe pulls it in at the 2 where it'll be first and goal. What a bullet in traffic from Perry.
That ball had no arch on it whatsoever. It was a dart straight to Howe, who made a fantastic catch in traffic. 3 defenders in the area, and Stevie Howe still pulls it in.
So it's first and goal now, or do we have... Yes, that is some of the officials come out. We're wondering if they've had a discussion and there was a flag in the melee. There was not. It's first and goal for Emmett at the 3.
It's funny you bring up melee because that's really how this game is felt.
Yeah. Hand off to Fullerton. He's behind blocking, and he'll take it into the end zone. So Fullerton gets his traditional short run for another score. 4:48 to go here in the third quarter, and the Huskies have extended that lead now to 34-0 on a 3-yard run by Fullerton.
Well, Fullerton, being the workhorse of this offense, often gets his apple once a game thrown to him. So
yeah, he can finish it off right here, and the kick coming up for Welling. So the Huskies, after kind of a lethargic start tonight, have late in the second quarter and now really started to put it together. Welling's kick looks good. It's got lots of height, and it is good. And it is 35-0 in favor of the Huskies with 4:48 yet to go here in the third quarter.
That kick would have been good from 40 yards, I swear. That was a beautifully kicked ball, nice and high. And once again, the story of tonight really, in my opinion, is this Columbia team beating themselves. Now, that being said, the Emmett offense has really come alive in this second half, doing a great job moving the ball, and a mixture of running, passing, just a really great all-around force by the offense here.
Well, they've scored on their last 5 possessions after a slow start, and part of that is a couple of those early possessions in this run were short possessions because they were given a short field, usually with the penalties. But the last couple, they have executed it quite well. Mountain West Building Supply has everything you need for your next project, whether you're a professional contractor or a do-it-yourself fixer-upper. Lumber, paint, hardware, and more can be found at Mountain West, located just 2 miles west of Emmett on Highway 52. And as you get ready to put things away for the winter, check out their sheds ready for delivery and ready to be filled before the snow flies. And we're going to get some this year, at least I hope so. The up kick is mishandled, but will be finally taken at the 5-yard line. And trying to return it upfield is number 3. That is Peyton Hernandez. And he's going to only get it across the 10-yard line. So continuing struggles for Columbia on handling those kicks or punts. Well, no punts.
Punts, kicks, catches, all across the board. The hands have not been great. We do have a player down for Columbia. Yep. It looks like that is number 3.
So he's the one that got it and went back and tried to make something of it, but was then swarmed under. You know, Hannigan Auto Sales has been locally owned and operated for nearly 100 years here in Gem County. And you don't stick around that long unless you treat every customer who walks onto the lot just like family. And that's a nice family, not a worried family. Hannigan Auto Sales and Service is a full-service dealer that can take care of everything before, during, and after the sale. In-house financing, full-service auto detailing, and a repair shop run by the best vehicle experts around. You won't find a better place to buy or service your next used car, truck, or SUV Then at Hannigan Auto Sales and Service on Washington Avenue here in Emmett. Give them a jingle at 365-5050. And check out their new stuff. And hey, if you've got a vehicle you're trying to get rid of and they don't happen to have the vehicle in stock that you're looking for, they're willing to buy your vehicle even if you don't do a trade-in with them. They'll pay cash above market value. You can't beat that.
Well, maybe I need to look into selling my vehicle then. That's a deal you don't find anywhere.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, not many. And, of course, like everything in the world nowadays, prices and supply are questionable and always a game, I guess. Hard running by Ho, and he's going to get, boy, I thought he was going to get about 7-8 yards out of that. I mean, he was banging into bodies, but he had to start banging into them 5 yards in the backfield.
Yeah, he's been a very physical running back this game, but he's just not getting any help from his offensive line. He's been hitting the backfield on almost every carry.
He makes 4 yards out of it, but I thought, looking at the way he was running, it was at 8 or 9 yards.
Well, he runs 30 yards for 4.
Yeah. 4 minutes, and the clock is running here in the third quarter. Huskies with a 35-0 lead on Columbia. Handoff again to Ho, picking his way through. He jumps over a defender and will get across the 20-yard line. Will still be a couple of yards shy of the marker to gain. Huskies have someone a little slow getting up off the ground.
Well, he kind of tripped and fell back to the ground.
Conklin on his own there will be coming out. A couple other ball players changing defensively. Third down and short coming up for the Wildcats. Still trying to, they were in Husky territory on 2 of their first 3 possessions that have not been back there since.
It was actually Ryder Scheibe that was kind of getting
tangled
up.
Right, 3.
And it's just these little moments at the end of every play that players get a little bit more of a shot in, and it's so far it hasn't been too bad, but that's not really what you want to see.
Quarterback counting signals. No, he's not going to hand it off. He's going to keep it himself, and he's going to be short of the first down. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe picked up the football length of additional. It's going to be 4th down and a long one.
Oh,
they gave him a
first down. I think he was about a yard short. But
yeah, well, the official on this side when he walked in was at the 22, but they've placed the ball at the 23 with the nose on it, and they've given him the first down. So Wildcats first down, I think, in the second half for them.
Actually, I think it's their second. It's their second first down, but still.
Oh, because there was one by penalty.
Right. So, but there hasn't really been much of an offense here from the Wildcats so far this game, especially in the second half. We're hoping they can open it up here, but at this point, you're fighting for pride, I feel like.
Hand off again to Ho. He's showing his pride. Nice looking for the hole, dodging, diving. Gets forward about 3 yards to the 27. Second down and 7 coming up for Columbia. Again, 2 minutes and 11 seconds still remaining. So we got in the third quarter, we still have a long game to be played. It's just that the momentum just pretty much got sucked right out of this ball game by the Huskies when they came out and scored 2 touchdowns and a safety in that third quarter. Or in this third quarter, I should say. We're still there. Handoff again to Ho. He's going to dart and pick up another 3-4 yards. Just simply working for what space he can get and making the best that he can out of it. He's a big back, but he's not just a straight power type runner. He really flights around and has a lot of movement for a 6 foot, 190-pound high schooler.
Almost looks like a giant rabbit out there, just kind of bouncing back and forth and just, looking for those tiny little holes that he can slip through. As a big guy, it's very impressive. And he's making it work. Honestly, he's been the only energy in this offense so far this half, and he's doing his best to keep it going.
Columbia sends 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen there. 1 receiver out on the top. Quarterback counting signals. He's fading back to pass. Fires it over the middle. Misses his man. It fires behind his intended receiver. And it bounced in front of Brendan instead of right to him. So it'll be 4th down and 4 coming up for Columbia. And the Huskies, who have at times this year had propensity to give up some yardage on the little curl patterns on the sidelines and stuff. Tonight have not given that up. They've pretty much closed down the passing game. And Brendan's going to drop back along with Loomis, expecting another punt opportunity. And last time we were in this formation, it went through the end zone for a safety. This one will get to the punter. He will put up a soft punt, which will roll into Emmett territory. And I say soft, not that it was weak. It wasn't a towering punt. He wasn't going to kick to the receivers. And the ball will be rolling dead at the 43-yard line where the Huskies will take over. We still have 50 seconds remaining, and the officials are...
Well, the ball was kicked off the field by the player that touched it down. It's their ball, so they just kicked it back to his sideline.
Yeah. So I guess there would be the possibility the official would call that a sportsmanship thing, but he's not going to mess with it at this point because it didn't really look like it was a vicious kick.
No, it was just returning the ball and it was
just getting
easier.
the kick, but kind of nonchalantly done. So good, no call, no flag. Handoff goes back inside, and that is Fullerton. And I think, let me just double check.
With the way he was running, I would say that was Fullerton, but yeah, that is right.
It was Fullerton. Yeah.
You can kind of tell just by the way he kind of scurries around looking for those holes.
Yeah, his style and Brendan's style are very different. We can usually tell. Handoff again, straight ahead. First down yardage inside the 45, down to the 42-yard line. Fullerton is averaging right around 140 to 150 yards a game this year with about 20 carries. So they're not, and I honestly believe his longest, I think he has 141 yard, but that was a pass play that he took in. His longest carry may be 20 yards on the season, and yet he's averaging 140 a game.
And that will be the quarter, but so we will be back soon. We have a 35-0 lead for Emmett over the Columbia Wildcats. We'll be back after this.
Why spend 15 minutes quoting your insurance with one company? Go to biginsurance.com and let leading insurance companies shop for your insurance. You can even chat with one of our agents standing by, only at biginsurance.com.
Gem Supply and Building Co-op in Emmett, the helpful place for all your building and hardware needs. They offer friendly, knowledgeable personal service, quality products, and a convenient shopping experience from local experts who know you best. Visit them at 402 North Washington Avenue in Emmett. They're open 7 days a week. Gem Supply and Building Co-op wants to wish the Emmett boys best of luck in the game tonight and for this season. They say, Lori and the gang say, go Huskies. And I say, get down to Gem Supply this weekend, because if you're working on special projects, you've got, whether it's garden or the animals you need to be taking care of and getting ready for winter, that's the place to go. Handoff out on the outside with the run, and that is going to be Loomis, I believe.
Yep, that is Joe Loomis on the carry. A beautiful 20-yard pickup for Loomis.
He bounces it outside all the way from the 45, actually down to the 22-yard line. So a 23-yard gain for Loomis, and that Husky running game now starting to, as they have done in the last few games, just take over in the second half. And it's Loomis again there to the right side. He's back down to the 15-yard line and dives forward to the 13. Another 8-9-yard pickup for the senior. In his second year with the Emmett program, he's a Orange County boy out of California, and he's proud of it.
Well, and it's his first game back after that injury 2 weeks ago, so it's good to see him back carrying the ball again.
Yeah, given another dimension. Handoff straight ahead. I think enough for the first down to about the 13-yard line. It looks like the marker on the near side is maybe the 12.
Well, and it looks like the carrier is going to be actually Casey Coburn.
Okay, so Coburn coming up from the JV team, getting some playing time. He actually did the same thing in California last week and got some carries. So going for a little bit more depth, giving some kids some rest here because
next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I've talked with Tom Shanahan, the athletic director at Bishop Kelly, on Wednesday, and he says that's been their biggest focus for the last 3 weeks, is trying to get their kids to focus on the game they have at hand, not about Emmett, and trying to break that 2-game losing streak. And that's Coburn straight ahead again, I think. And he's going to get very close to the 5.
I think they're going to mark it down at the 4-yard line, so he'll be about 2 yards short of the first down and 4 yards from the touchdown.
From the touchdown. So, and we are now just into the fourth quarter, just over 10 minutes to play in the fourth quarter.
Fullerton back in, but there is laundry on the field again.
And whatever it is, something from the other side, I'm not sure what that call is.
I've never seen that.
Would that be verbally interfering with signals?
I don't know. The white hat kind of tapped the side of his face. I've never seen a call like that, so I have no idea what that penalty is. It was half the distance to the goal. So the only thing I can assume was it was a form of a personal foul.
Yeah, but it doesn't go far enough to make it a first down. So it's still second down, but we're looking at a 3-yard touchdown run or a 1-yard run for a first down.
Bry Fullerton in the backfield.
So Fullerton is back in right now. And now we're going to have a whistle, and I think this will back us up, and the Huskies.
It's an offsides called on the defense.
Oh, they jump. Well, we've been watching a very aggressive attacking a linebacking core from Columbia, wanting to try to jump that signal and get across to get to the back.
So that'll be half the distance to the goal, which will be a first down this time, and it'll be 1st and 1 on the 1.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, another penalty, another factor.
And they're stealing more yards from poor Rye Fullerton, who just cannot seem to get any yards.
It's getting short. And he's not going to get it. Perry's going to be stopped. And no, he brings back to the near side. He's racing to the left. He's got a blocker. He's going to cut back in, and he's in for the touchdown. That looks like a Caden Young run. Dakota Perry with a 1-yard run of about 45 yards.
It really was. It was a 45-yard run that got him 1, and he got in the end zone. Dakota Perry on the scramble was running for his life, getting chased by about the entire defense, and still finds a way to get in the end zone.
Well, for the third consecutive game, he's credited with at least 5 touchdowns, 4 passing and 1 rushing now. He had 5 passing, 1 rushing last week, 6 passing the week before. Kick is on its way, and it is up, and it is good, and the Huskies have extended the lead now to 42 to nothing with 9:55. Actually, it's 9:25, and the clock is running because we just went over the 40-point margin. We're in the fourth quarter, and we now have a running clock.
Yeah. That is unique to high school football. They do a running clock once you pass that 40-point lead.
And California actually has a 30-point rule. And so last week, the Huskies had gone up 48-13, I believe it was. So they weren't up 40, but they had a running clock the entire fourth quarter against Lodi. They happened to score, actually Tokay High School of Lodi. They scored in the last 30 seconds of the game to make it 48-20. So, we had a running clock last week, too.
And out of curiosity, when they scored and dropped that below the 30
the clock still ran. In fact, it ran out while they were setting up and kicking the extra point.
Gotcha.
Yeah, even when they scored, they didn't stop the clock.
Okay. So running clock at 8:25 left in this game, 42-0. Emmett on top here at homecoming night, out by the Domes.
Kick picked up at about the 15-yard line, nicely received, and returning it on the far side, but good coverage by Emmett's going to keep him short of the 30-yard line, it appears. So Columbia is going to take over inside their own 30. As I said, they have yet to cross midfield here in the second half. They had, I want to say, 2 forays into the Husky territory in the first quarter, but couldn't get any closer than about the 40 and could not get anything into Pater territory. So we've seen some elements of the defenses that we were expecting to see. We just haven't, it just got away late in the first half and early, certainly the second half, when the Huskies just kind of said, this is our game and it's our homecoming and we're going to finish this one off. Again, that driving push of Ho, he will get out for 4 yards to the 31-yard line.
And once again, it looks like he runs 8 because he gets hit in the backfield,
Yep.
4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and has to make up for more. Something that really needs to be said is the sportsmanship of the Emmett defense right now. They've had a very aggressive, pointed, gritty game, and they have not lowered themselves to the level. There's been a very vastly different amount of unnecessary roughness penalties and unsportsmanlike conduct tonight, and it's really a testament to the defensive coordinator here at Emmett saying, hey, guys, play your game and don't play.
They haven't been without him, but they were certainly, when the flag was thrown, you were on the sideline immediately.
And Hunter Enoch has not come back into the game. He has sat the entire since that penalty.
Yeah, they are not going to take that, and that part of that is building up, is realizing, some of those silly things that just don't seem to be that big a deal can cost you from participating next week. And you can't afford that if you're going to try to get a third consecutive Southern Idaho Conference championship. And right now they're just trying to get a tackle on Mr. Ho, a nice 8-yard run for a first down out across the 40-yard line with 6:08 to go.
Yeah, Ho doesn't care what the score is on the scoreboard.
He's still
playing football. Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's what you want to see from a senior.
Well, and that's what you want to see from everybody. I mean, I don't care if you're a freshman or a sophomore coming up and you're filling in this time. This is your opportunity to execute. Every play is a play and a scheme all in itself. And if you don't think about it that way, if you try to lump it into something else, that's when you end up making mistakes and taking risks and not minding your spot. So defensively and offensively, it's all about focusing on concentration, and one of those that's focusing on that was a great tackle made over there on the far side on Ho.
That's number 41. Well, I don't have 41. That's
number 11. That was Brian Walker that brought him down, I believe.
There was a late flag.
Well, and they're calling a face mask on it, and so I don't know if that was on the carry or on somebody else that was down there, because it looked like Walker was behind him.
I thought he grabbed him by the back of the shirt. So it's an interesting call. I think it's going to be on somebody else, not on the tackle.
Right. I think it was somewhere else, over maybe in the blocking scheme or something that we got it. Now let's wait and see. Oh, it's on the offense.
Oh.
So the offensive line, apparently somebody reached out and grabbed a face mask. And strangely enough, face mask against the defense is usually 15 yards and a personal foul.
No.
This is just grabbing the face mask against the offense, 5-yard penalty.
Right.
Okay.
And it's been gritty on the line all night long, so the fact that a hand slips up and grabs a face mask has not shocked me in the least.
Well, it happens. But it makes Ho run from behind him, but Ho's going to run over the line, and he gets out across the 45-yard line, so he gets back the 5 yards on the penalty, plus about 3 more. He's ripping off about 6-7 yards with every carry right now. The clock down to 4 minutes and 5 seconds. I think the senior has in mind he wants to get in that pay dirt territory before that clock runs out here in the fourth quarter.
Loomis runs out of the field, limping just a little bit. An ankle still a little bit tender, I think.
Yep, and Christian Sanchez comes to the near side. He's out of there right now. See them. Oh!
Well, and just as I said, Hunter Enoch was not in the game anymore. He comes back in and makes us stop in the backfield.
I think he took some coaching to heart while he was on the sidelines. Enoch stepped up and just crunched the handoff to Ho. Loss of about 6 yards on that.
Well, and you know what? That's exactly what you want to see from the player that gets chewed out on the sideline. He comes back in and gets fired up.
And execute.
And plays the game. Exactly. Yeah. So Hunter Enoch showing, you know what, Coach, I can do this. I'm okay.
We'll take care of it. But it's third down and about 8. As Columbia trying to get into Emmett territory, and they're going to hand it off in the backfield, and there's a host of Huskies rolling over Ho, and he got back to the line of scrimmage and then pushed back. We'll give him a half a yard in yardage, but it'll be 4th down and 7 coming up for Columbia.
And in comes the punting team, so.
They don't want to stand around and, yeah, I mean, you're at midfield. I guess there's nothing really to gain with 2:27 to go. I would anticipate, knowing the way Coach Hargett has gone, we're going to see the Huskies take 3 knees.
It's very possible.
That would be assuming that Columbia doesn't take any timeouts on the other side of it. But the
low spinning punt, and the defense is just going to get away from it. It's going to get marked down right at the 20-yard line.
So at the 20-yard line with 2 minutes and 1 second and the clock running. With the running clock by the time they get out there.
Probably only need 2 knees.
They may only need 2. They've got 40 seconds, so we'll probably need 3. But it depends on how quick the officials do their job out there.
Well, it'll be 40. It'll be a 40-second play clock from once the ball is placed down and the play is called. So now the clock is running. We got about 1:35. So it will be three knees needed to.
It's probably going to take 3. And I just anticipate that's exactly what we're going to see. We got 2 running backs behind Perry, and Perry will take 1 step back and then knee down. At least that has been his style. Give yourself a little bit of space because that line gets pushed back on you.
Yeah, don't want a center sitting in your lap.
And he's watching the clock and using every inch of it that he can.
Oh, they will run the ball.
And so that takes a little bit more time. And so Fullerton will get about 8 yards, and now they will be able to do a single knee because they'll be inside the 40 seconds before they ever have to take a snap here. And this ball game is going to end up as a shutout for the Huskies.
And that's actually Daniel Walker that
carried the ball.
Snap
carried
the ball as a keeper.
Okay, so a Wildcat snap directly to Walker. And, in fact, it's Brian Walker that's actually behind center right now, number 11. So Huskies just get those starters out of there, get them sitting down, and don't take any chance of an injury here. And is how you couldn't tell if he was leaving the field or not. He just barely got off of there in time for the knee to be taken. It is taken, and the clock is going to run out. And the Emmett Huskies are going to have for themselves a little win streak going right now. In fact, they'll have won their 5th consecutive, moving to 5-1 after that opening season loss to Blackfoot. They are 2-0 in conference play, and they do it with a homecoming shutout, 42-0 over Columbia, in a game that was much tighter than that until things broke just around the halftime mark. And from that point, it became all Emmett. So that's the final here tonight, 42 for Emmett, nothing for Columbia. We'll be back to name our IdahoSports.com, Idaho Transportation Department Shift Program Player of the Game in a couple of minutes.
High school sports teams are known for their unity. No matter what's happening on the field, they stick together. Players, coaches, students, parents. One big family. That's why Mountain West Bank is so proud to sponsor Idaho high school sports. Today, tomorrow, together.
Some days, I choose the most difficult trail. I test my limits.
Taking the hard path isn't always easy, but I know it's the right way.
When I get done with my ride and I look back at what I've just accomplished, I feel amazing.
It takes courage and determination to do hard things.
But you can do them.
Quitting tobacco and vaping is possible.
You decide when. We'll show you how. Learn more at projectfilter.org or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
You can't make summer stand still, so make the most of every last second with a new Toyota at Toyota's National Sales Event.
During Toyota's National Sales Event, discover our wide variety of fuel-efficient electrified vehicles. Toyota, let's go places.
We're Valley-wide country store. For 100 years, we've been your #1 choice for food, fuel, farm supplies, and just about everything else you could need to get you through your day. We know you work until the job is done, and so do we. For gas on the go, or a little extra to help you get down the road, you can count on us. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valley-wide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
Because you already give them something money can't buy. We'll help with everything else, no matter what life holds. Mountain West Bank. Today, tomorrow, together.
We are back at Homecoming 2022, where the Emmett Huskies will be celebrating and dancing tomorrow, celebrating a 42-0 victory over the Columbia Wildcats. Their fifth straight win of the season. They're still trying to break into the polls in the top 5 in this 4A division, and they'll certainly get some attention probably with this win. But it doesn't really matter, because next week is all that matters in their minds and the minds of a lot of fans, both in Boise and here in Emmett, and probably with voters and coaches around the state, when Emmett will go to Bishop Kelly next Friday night at Nick Yasursa Field. And Bishop Kelly was undefeated going into their game at home tonight against Burley. And so we're anticipating, because their defense has been so stinking strong, that they'll get that win, and they will be undefeated in league and still ranked at the top 1 or 2 positions in the state, and that's what the Huskies face. But, they've done that the last couple of years, but they always played Bishop Kelly in the very first league game of the season, picked up the win, and then held on by just not losing more than 1 game the rest of the way. And they could be in that same boat again tomorrow, next Friday night. A win against Bishop Kelly will certainly clinch them a playoff berth, probably clinch them a first-round home bye in the playoffs. But all that doesn't matter, because it's just Bishop Kelly. and those two teams have really developed in the last 3, 4, 5 years a really a sense of each other. They're the 2 smallest schools in the 4A division that play football in the state of Idaho. And so there's a lot of pride that they can be competing against these schools that are 2 and 3 times their size, and yet when they have to go toe-to-toe with each other, it's a full-out battle. So we expect that next week. But for tonight, let's recap just briefly. Slow start for the Huskies. First 3 possessions, not a first down, but a couple of penalties finally got them moving to start the second quarter. They got short fields. They put up 19 before halftime, but then they score on the next 3 possessions after the second half, and it was over. It was over after that. And talking about the player of the game, presented by the Shift program, presented by the Idaho Transportation Department, there's a couple guys we can talk about that really put their name out there. Rye Fullerton always being the workhorse of this offense, getting them those critical 5, 6, 7 yard gains when they need them on 3rd and 2nd down. Just really been an overall wonderful attachment to this team. Obviously, you need to talk about Joe Loomis, who made his return to the field this week after sitting a week out after that injury 2 weeks ago. Great to see him back. He played in several different areas of the field tonight. Isaac Brennan had some great runs, including the longest touchdown of the ball game with a great touchdown pass that were wide open. But I just mentioned Stevie Howe with pass. 2 amazing catches that ended up going for touchdowns, including one dart from Dakota Perry. That was not a touchdown, but it got him to the one. That got him to the one. That was about a 30-yard pass that didn't have any arc on it whatsoever, and that bullet came from our player of the game of the night, Dakota Perry. Yeah. Dakota obviously playing a fantastic game, 4 throwing touchdowns with 1 running touchdown. And the one run was only 1 yard, but he really ran like 40 yards to get it. He was on both sides of the field as he was scrambling and giving us memories of Caden Young's scrambling ability a year ago. Again, not with the long stretch down the field, but certainly a lot of maneuvers to get into the end zone. And I think with this statement, obviously breaking the school record for most touchdowns in one season, as well as a couple weeks ago breaking the record for most touchdowns in one game, I think it's safe to say he's no longer living in Young's shadow. No, Perry is here to stay, and he is the quarterback that Emmett has been waiting for. And he's established himself as a pure passer, too, because he has thrown, well, as you said, we've seen some darts, we've seen some great timings, and it's been fun to watch because there was a little bit of that insecurity, particularly in the opening game against Blackfoot, but I don't see that now. I see a lot of confidence out there, and he's going to need it, and the team's going to need every inch of it, and they're going to need everything that they did on the line tonight to hold their own next week against Bishop Kelly. I'm I'm excited. I do not know for certain whether we'll be on the air next week. If we are, it will be a radio-style broadcast only here on IdahoSports.com. Bishop Kelly has an exclusive arrangement with a different organization for their video broadcast, and so far they have not even approved outside video audio broadcast, but talked with their AD, and we may be able to do that. If not, that'll be available on the NFH Network, and we'll certainly cover it here in Emmett. And for fans of the Huskies here in the area, remember we only have one more regular season home. It's just hard to believe. It's just the first night feeling like football weather, and the season's almost over. Valley View will be here in 2 weeks for senior night, and we would love to have the kind of crowd we had here for homecoming tonight, and everybody get out here as far as the Huskies are concerned. For Columbia, they're going to go home. They've got some very winnable ball games coming up.
They do.
And
they've got not some kids, over for this season.
And they've got some kids who can play some football and need the opportunity to do that, and need the support from their fans at home to do that here in the last few weeks, because like I said, they've got some very winnable games, and they're not out of the picture yet for as far as the state playoffs are concerned, because a lot of teams do get in, and that's an opportunity. In fact, they could end up back here somewhere in the first round possibly, but like I said, we saw a lot of positive things from them. They just had some breakdowns that cost them, and Emmett eventually was able to take advantage of those, and that was the difference. It was quite a finish to the football game. As again, we've kind of watched that the last 3-4 games for Emmett is somewhere around the 4-minute mark of the first half, they start moving that momentum, and then they take control in the second half, and that certainly was the case here tonight. So Dakota Perry, our IdahoSports.com, Idaho Transportation Department Project Shift Player of the Game. This ball game has been brought to you in part by Mountain West Bank, by Project Filter, Valleywide Cooperative, the Idaho Transportation Department, the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, Next Steps Idaho, your local Toyota dealers, and locally by Hannigan Auto Sales, Mountain West Building Supply, and Gem Supply Hardware and Co-op. All of them here in Emmett. I want to thank Ashley Holt, our athletic director, for helping keep the facilities. It's been a wild day in Emmett. If you haven't ever been over here for homecoming day, they have a parade downtown that is really unique, because they bus all the elementary kids to line the main street down along the park, and the parade comes through, and all the athletes from the all the high school athletes run up and down doing high fives with these little kids all up and down the street. And the relationship, and watching them for 30 minutes before the parade are out doing their Husky chants when they're first and second graders is very, very special. And that was kind of what goes today. That's some of the distractions the teams had all day. They finally worked out of them and picked up that victory. And, of course, they'll celebrate with a little homecoming dance tomorrow night. But I have a feeling that for most of those ball players down there in uniforms, they're already thinking black and gold. Their visions are all Bishop Kelly.
It's going to be a banger next week at Bishop Kelly. Cannot wait. I will probably be there whether I'm reporting this game or not.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for that game, as are the players. So looking forward to that. Final score here tonight at Emmett, 42-0 over the Columbia Wildcats.
For my broadcast partner, Chandler Gray, and everyone else behind the scenes here at IdahoSports.com, I'm Del Gray saying so long until soon. Final again, 42-0 in favor of the Huskies.
High school sports teams are known for their unity. No matter what's happening on the field, they stick together. Players, coaches, students, parents. One big family. That's why Mountain West Bank is so proud to sponsor Idaho high school sports. Today, tomorrow, together.
Some days, I choose the most difficult trail. I test my limits.
Taking the hard path isn't always easy, but I know it's the right way.
When I get done with my ride and I look back at what I've just accomplished, I feel amazing.
It takes courage and determination to do hard things.
But you can do them.
Quitting tobacco and vaping is possible.
You decide when. We'll show you how. Learn more at projectfilter.org or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
You can't make summer stand still, so make the most of every last second with a new Toyota at Toyota's National Sales Event.
During Toyota's national sales event, discover our wide variety of fuel-efficient electrified vehicles. Toyota, let's go places.
We're Valley-wide country store. For 100 years, we've been your #1 choice for food, fuel, farm supplies, and just about everything else you could need to get you through your day. We know you work until the job is done, and so do we. For gas on the go, or a little extra to help you get down the road, you can count on us. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valley-wide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
Because you already give them something money can't buy. We'll help with everything else, no matter what life holds. Mountain West Bank. Today, tomorrow, together.
This has been a presentation of IdahoSports.com GameStreams. This broadcast is copyrighted to IdahoSports.com. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of this broadcast without the